This is Cerebral Cinema. Movies of the mind.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart, Shaman Spade.
Shaman, not Sam?
An old Indian word signifying wise man. And it's true, Effie. I'm a lot wiser man than I was yesterday at this time.
Oh, really, Sam?
Really, little papoose. Put on some war paint, a few turkey feathers, and your best open-toed moccasins.
Where are we going, Sam?
Why, to Ted's teepee for a rousing repast of ground corn and dried buffalo meat.
Oh, well.
Don't quibble, Effie. Get the wigwam ready, sharpen my tomahawk, and lay out my herringbone breech clout. I'll be right in to dictate the Shargaga, the Shanagma, the Indian caper. From the land of the sky blue water, they brought a captive maid, Red Wing.
Here I am running, Skunk.
Running what?
Skunk. He was a famous Indian detective.
You sure you're not making this up?
Oh, no, Sam. Oh, no. He was the scourge of Indian lawbreakers.
The scourge, huh? Even so, you have 2 minutes to think of a better name.
Oh. Rippling stream?
Not virile enough.
Crunching muscles?
Too virile. What is that stuff you've been getting me, anyway? To Lieutenant L.J. Myron, San Francisco Homicide Detail. Better take it back. Copy to Chief Black Cloud at Santee, Dakota Indian Reservation. Oh, murder. Attention, federal Indian agent from Samuel Spade, San Francisco, license number 137596. Subject, the Shargagagag, Shargona, call it for now, the Indian caper, and quiet to you. I was sitting in my office, doing absolutely nothing when something interrupted me. First, it was a buckskin smell, then the soft tread of moccasins, followed by the sound of a rattle. His beaded clothes were wrapped in a rich-looking embroidered blanket, and his multicolored headdress reached to the floor. His face looked like the model for the Indian head nickel.
How?
Who?
My name, Chief Black Cloud.
How do you do, Chief?
You, Shaman Spade.
Sam.
Shaman, Indian word for wise man, prophet, seer.
Sam.
Newspapers say you good scout.
Well, they exaggerate so, you know.
Chief need to hire good scout for job.
Well, shall we talk?
You come for powwow in Chief's council lodge.
Where's that?
Say Mark Hotel, 4th floor.
I see. You have reservation. Well.
You ride with Black Cloud. He have iron pony on street made by great Indian chief, Pontiac.
And he actually had a council lodge at the St. Mark, 4th floor. Outside the door of his room, 2 braves were standing, arms folded. One of them was the first Indian I'd ever seen with hair on his chest. We entered the room. Indian file, of course. The chief had apparently brought in his own decorator. The walls were covered with hanging animal skins. A weathered canopy of thatch hid the ceiling, and on the floor, genuine hand-woven rugs. No expense had been spared. In one corner of this room stood a full-size teepee. 2 squaws shuffled out of it. What else? The young one glided forward and handed the chief a long Indian pipe.
Shaman Spade, this fairest Indian maid of all. Only person in world important to Black Cloud. Name, Little White Lilac.
How do you do, Little White Lilac?
It's nice to have you here.
She wise, educated girl. Graduate Smith College.
Nice.
All squaws out.
All squaws on.
Squaws no good at powwow.
Well, you know best, Chief.
Now we powwow. You get paid well. Chief Black Cloud own 130 oil wells near Tulsa.
Oh, Oklahoma, huh?
Not Oklahoma. Indian land. Union mean nothing. Union temporary thing.
I see.
Indian here long before white man.
This is true.
And Indian will be here long after white man.
All right, Chief, all right.
Chief Black Cloud come to San Francisco Village 5 days ago for a powwow with big engineer.
Anybody I know?
His name, Clarence Hobart. Engineer for Arundel and Amaskig Consolidated Engineering Company. Fine Indian name. We have powwow 4 days. Hobart disappear.
And you want me to find him, is that it?
Chief tired of San Francisco. Want finish powwow. Get back to Santee Dakota Reservation.
Clarence Hobart. Okay, I'll see what I can find out.
Good. One moment, Shaman Spade.
Sam,
Chief have something you guard for a few days.
what's this?
This beaded wampum belt, ancient relic of Nipmuc tribe.
Nipmuc.
Here in Kipisemak, too many light-fingered chambermaids and bellboys.
You want me to hold on to this for you?
Yes, wampum of great sentimental value, woven by ancient wise man Tani Luka. Tells interesting story in history of tribe. Guard it well.
Haven't lost a wampum yet. Is that all, then?
One more thing. We smoke pipe of friendship.
All right.
I smoke. Here. Now, you smoke.
To friendship. Now I know what happens if the bag of Lucky Strike doesn't bite. When I left Chief Black Cloud's fourth-floor lodge, there was only one brave standing outside the door. The hairy-chested Indian was probably taking 5. The wampum belt was about 3 feet long, made up of hundreds upon hundreds of little colored beads. They were woven into a picture pattern, very pretty. The interesting story undoubtedly could have been translated instantly and told fascinatingly by Red Ryder, but then he has a smart horse. I put the wampum belt in my pocket and headed for the offices of the Arundel and Amoskeag Consolidated Engineering Company. Fine old Indian names. I inquired about Clarence Hobart. They referred me to his partner, Anderson Watts.
Hobart disappeared? Absurd. Why, you couldn't lose him if you wanted to. He's as wide as a barn door.
Yeah, well, Chief Black Cloud seems to think he is missing.
Well, now, look here. Are you going to take an Indian's opinion over mine?
I might.
Well, just because he doesn't show up for an appointment doesn't mean he's disappeared. Why, one day when we were on a cantilever project in New Orleans...
Yeah, some other time. If Hobart hasn't disappeared, where would he be?
Anywhere in the world. The man's unpredictable. Brilliant engineer, but moody.
Oh.
Every now and then he goes off alone to scheme up some fantastic thing like maybe cutting off the Gulf Stream and turning Cuba into an iceberg.
I like it.
But he always comes back. Disappear? No, not Hobart.
Yeah, well, can you give me his home address?
Well, here you are. Try it if you like. But I'm sure he's not there. I called this morning and nobody answered. Honest Injun.
I left this utterly charming man and started for the address he had written down. I was taking the shortcut through the alley on Sutton Street when I heard the rattle of beads, and a naked brown arm of considerable size reached out of the murk. I grabbed for it, but he slipped out of my grasp and sped swiftly and silently up the dark alley into the fog, leaving me with a handful of Max Factor number 8 Iroquois makeup. I continued to Hobart's house without further incident. Found it just off Chinatown. Mr. Hobart?
Oh, I thought you might be somebody else.
Who else?
Take a foot out of the door.
Just let's talk a minute, shall we?
Want me to call the police?
I don't think you will, Mr. Hobart.
All right, out with it. What's on your mind?
My name is Sam Spade. I'm a private detective. There's an Indian named Chief Black Cloud who's worried about you.
I'm old enough to worry about myself. Now, stop bothering me. Go away.
Look, I'm going to tell the chief where you are, because that's what I was hired to do.
You'll... yeah, you're right. Confidentially, I've been on a 2-day drunk. You know how it is.
Who, me?
Tell him to phone me tomorrow. I'll talk to him.
Oh, hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Hi.
Hello, what are you doing here today? This is your day off.
I just wanted to show you something.
Effie, first do me a favor and put this wampum belt in the safe, will you?
A wampum belt?
Genuine Indian art.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Tell us a story.
You know what?
Yeah.
It'll go beautifully with... Oh, Sam, I forgot. There's a girl waiting in your office.
Well, good.
Well, Sam, don't you want me to show you?
And there was indeed a girl in my office. It was Little White Lilac, Chief Black Cloud's fairest Indian maid of all. Only a heap big change had taken place. She still had the Indian color, but gone was the headband, gone the buckskin dress, gone the squatting squaw, the St. Mark teepee. Little White Lilac stood revealed in the thin disguise of a modern white woman's cocktail dress, complete with pale-faced 20-carat perfume. It was a transformation worthy of a high-priced medicine man. But more surprises were to come.
Hello.
How?
I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, well, a big brave just returned from hunting party.
You can drop the TV talk. I'm civilized.
Well, okay. What's on your civilized mind?
Chief Black Cloud gave you a wampum belt. I want you to give it to me so I can destroy it.
Uh-huh. Well, I gave my word to keep it, and I accepted the promise of money for its protection. Now, you wouldn't want me to be an Indian gift. Violate my ethics, would you?
Sam, if I must tell you, Chief Black Cloud is insane.
Not if he keeps you around.
Must we have these juvenile references to my personal beauty?
Juvenile? Well, sorry. You are Indian, aren't you?
Of course. I am a Nipmuc.
Nipmuc.
That wampum belt is a secret to undreamed-of wealth, greater than the fortunes of the 10 richest families of this country.
Wow.
Chief Black Cloud is wealthy from oil, but that belt make him more powerful than the Bank of America.
You mean he could take my car back?
You think this is a joke, don't you?
Well, I love the way you tell it, though.
He's going to use it to destroy modern American civilization.
Oh?
To pay the white man back for what he did to the Indian.
I see.
He wants to start a giant Indian revolution.
And you want to destroy the wampum to save all this,
Exactly. And now you'll give it to me, won't you?
Uh-uh. What happens in the next chapter?
Sam, you have to believe me.
Why?
Why do you think the chief is here conferring with an engineer? He wants to get at that wealth.
Hobart's going to make him wealthy? Now, really, little white lilac, isn't this all a little white lie?
Sam, if I take you to Hobart and he confirms what I've said, will you believe me?
I might.
Come on.
She took me by the hand, and she led me out of the office and up and down several streets until we arrived at a frowsy-looking brownstone. We entered, still holding hands, and came to rest in an apartment that looked just recently occupied. I guess that's what it looked like because you couldn't tell much. It was being lit by either one 10-watt frosted bulb or by fireflies.
This is the place.
Yeah, a little dim in here, wouldn't you say?
I like dim places.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where's Clarence?
I'll get him in a minute. First, Sam.
Yes, Violet.
You've been so nice.
I have?
I want to find some way to thank you.
I'll wait while you look.
I can start by kissing you. Please, Sam.
Oh! The kiss was great. In fact, it blew the top of my head off. After this, there was a free fireworks display, followed closely by a giant roar that sounded like Niagara Falls with a cold. It was a short feature, followed by a long period of dark, black silence. When the curtain came up again, I was lying in an alleyway. I was stiff and cold, my head throbbed with pain, my brain was a jumble, my suit was torn and dirty, my patience was at an end, and my anger with little white lilac knew no bounds. I went down to the office and changed clothes and get a drink. The phone was already ringing when I opened the door. Sam Spade.
This Chief Black Cloud talking from St. Mark Teepee.
Yeah. What's on your mind, Chief?
10 minutes ago, bellboy delivered to Chief Black Cloud box. Inside box is scalp of Engineer Clarence Hobart.
I hung up the phone, fell into my chair, snapped on the lights, and fell out of it again. My office had been massacred. The place had been ransacked thoroughly and looked like the morning after a Comanche smoker. And you guessed it, my safe had been drilled open. The ancient and valuable Nipmuc wampum belt was gone. At this point, I decided what Chief Black Cloud needed was a detective.
Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men who put good grooming first. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. And now, back to the Chagagagog, Manchagagog, Chabanagun, Gamog caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I found Chief Black Cloud sitting cross-legged and looking disconsolately down into a small cardboard box. Both squaws, including little white Lilac, were on one side of the room grinding corn. Lilac looked through me as if I didn't exist. I sat down next to the chief, looked into the box, and recoiled. It was a real, no imitation, 20th century scalp, and the red hair was certainly Hobart's.
Scalp comes with note.
Let me see.
Note written in Algonquin dialect. I translate. Honor Chief Black Cloud. Return to Santee Dakota Reservation and die proper death fitting to old man. Here you will meet violence unto death, even as this man did.
Puts the point across. Look, Chief, it isn't that I'm scared, which I am, but I just decided to pull out of this caper.
What?
I've heard some things about you that don't sound too good.
You hear what?
That you want to start an Indian revolution to settle an old score with the white men.
Who tell you this?
The fairest of them all, little white Lilac.
She tell you?
I've never talked to him.
She not only told me all that, but she...
Quiet! Spade, when did little white Lilac tell you these things?
She came to my office today.
That's a lie. I never left this hotel.
We will see. Kalanuka.
Yes, Chief Black Cloud.
Did little white Lilac leave hotel today?
Little white Lilac with me all day.
Why,
Never out of sight.
Enough. Go away. Kalanuka speak with tongue of truth. Little white Lilac I have grown from baby. She also speak with tongue of truth. Somebody lie.
Now, look, Chief, I know what I'm talking about. You...
Chief does not need help of double-tongued man. Return wampum belt to me. I pay you.
All right, I'll,
Well?
Chief.
Chief heard enough lies. Return wampum
Wait a
belt.
minute. I got a small but biting bit of truth to relate. Somebody stole the wampum belt.
Wampum belt gone?
Somebody broke into my office, drilled the safe, and took it.
You stole.
It was stolen from me.
Return wampum or you not live until sundown.
I'll return it if I can find it. Then you can pay me off and we'll call it even.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the generous new 25-cent size of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I walked outside, muttering frightful white man's imprecations. Cutting through the hotel parking lot, I suddenly noticed the chief's iron pony made by Pontiac. There was a leather bag on the seat, sort of an Indian overnight case, and sticking out of it was a blood-stained tomahawk. This was of decided interest to me, and so were the rest of its contents. Somebody had a giant engineering project afoot because there were order receipts for such things as 2 LSTs, 4 underwater hydraulic drills, a diving bell, a dredging barge, and a steam derrick.
Back again, eh, Spade?
Yeah, back again, Mr. Watts.
Still looking for the missing Clarence Hobart?
Not anymore.
Well, I knew you'd realize the futility of it.
I found him.
And I trust you found him in good health. Old Hobart's a bug on health. Why, once when we were in Cleveland...
I think he's dead.
It was the Ohio River Bridge, John. Dead? Did you say Hobart dead?
Scalped, anyway. Mr. Watts, what was Hobart working on with the chief?
Well, I don't know exactly.
Well, let's go look at his desk file and see if we can find out. In the bottom drawer, under a lot of miscellaneous papers, we found a large manila envelope marked Black Cloud. It contained some topographical surveys of an area containing a lake. On the back of one of the surveys was written in fine print a series of 37 letters It looked like a whole group of Indian words strung together, or a code, or just doodling. It started out Chagaga something or other. I left Mr. Watts sitting in his office with tears in his eyes, a new role for him, and made my weary way back to my place of business. Effie was standing in the middle of the office with a shocked look on her face.
Sam, look at this office. How did it get like this? Oh, my files and everything.
Come on, I'll help you pick things up. And again, by the way, what are you doing here? It's still your day off.
When you were here last time, I wanted to show you something, but you were so anxious to get to that girl.
All right, I'm here, and I'll look. What is it?
A new suede coat. How do you like it? The color's rust.
Well, I suppose... Effie.
What?
What's that you're wearing as a belt?
Oh, now, don't be mad, Sam. I just had to. It went so well with the coat, and when I saw it, I couldn't
Cheap Black Cloud's wampum belt. You didn't put it in the safe.
Now,
Give
Sam,
it to
don't
me.
be mad,
Give it
please.
to me.
All right.
Wait right here. I'll be gone for half an hour, and then I'll come back and take you out to the best dinner in town.
Oh, I should go home and change first.
I had taken only 4 steps down the hall when somebody hit me from behind. I rolled, and he went with me. We fought a quick, quiet, and decisive fight. And at the end of it, I held him in an arm lock and led him back into my office. Come on.
What happened, Sam? You're back early.
I had an unexpected caller. Come in with me and take notes. Now, sit there.
All right, all right.
Now, who are you and what's on your mind?
I'm nobody, and I got nothing on my mind.
Spring, you're one of the braves that guarded the chief.
Yeah?
And you're a phony Indian, lousy makeup, and Indians don't have hair in their chest.
All right. My name's Grit Hammond. I'm a cowpoke, and I should have stayed where I belong, out on the range.
Well, why didn't you?
Oh, once I said I'd do anything for that gal. Now I wish I hadn't. She brought me here.
Why?
Well, it had something to do with buried treasure. She was going to give me a big cut.
Where is it buried?
I don't know. She was going to tell me.
I took Hammond around to homicide and left him in their safekeeping. While there, I got the latest flash. They had found Clarence Hobart dead and less scalped down by the waterfront. There were no clues except the blow on the back of the head and lipstick on his mouth, which was enough for me, having been through the same course myself. Then I proceeded to the St. Mark, 4th floor. Little white lilac met me at the door.
You can't see the chief.
Why not?
He's asleep.
One side. When the chief sees what I've got, he'll wake up screaming his wampum.
You have it?
And with that, she pounced. I pushed her off, but she came back and got a hold of one end of the wampum and tried to pull it away from me, with disastrous results. The wampum came apart, and in a second was nothing but hundreds of beads rolling different directions all over the place. In fact, it was no more.
Oh!
What happens in Chief's council lodge? Chief cannot sleep.
Well, I brought back your wampum, but now it's all over the floor.
Wampum belt destroyed?
Yes, it's destroyed, you stupid old man.
You talked to Chief?
Yes, stupid. You had the world in your hand. You didn't know it. You wanted it all for yourself, to tear down the earth. It could have been used to live.
What are you saying?
To live the way I'm supposed to live. Now nobody will have it, not even you or that fat engineer who wanted it.
Little white lilac, shut mouth.
I've been shutting my mouth all my life. You're a stupid, ignorant, disgusting old man. You'd be better off...
His big hands were around her throat. He stood there, anger and betrayal in his eyes. Then his hands dropped and he turned away with tears streaming down his face. It was then that the fair Indian maid went for him with a knife. And that was my cue to step in with a pale-face weapon.
And now, listen to this. Not only Dad, but the whole family goes for America's favorite hair tonic, Wild Root Cream Oil. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, removes loose, ugly dandruff. Get a family-size bottle or handy tube today. And ask your barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Little white lilac.
Yeah, well, I don't usually hit women, but don't feel too badly, Chief. She helped kill Clarence Hobart.
Now, Chief, believe anything.
Yeah, Chief, why did you want an engineer?
Design woven in wampum describes location of hidden Nipmuc treasure. Many years ago, Nipmuc tribe lived in Valley of the Berkshires. Discover only gold vein in east. Mine gold and keep for decoration. Kennebec Indians want gold. Start out on warpath. Nipmuc Indians bury gold. Move village. Divert stream into valley. Make lake. Gold there today, underwater.
Where is it?
That secret chief keep locked in head. Chief once had evil plan for gold. Now you forget. make pilgrimage back to ancient ancestral camp and die. Send me bill. Chief, leave village of San Francisco for good.
Period. End of powwow.
Oh, Sam, it's sad.
It is.
Vanishing race. Just think, the days of the Colt and the Winchester are gone forever.
But the day of the Remington is still with us. Go to it and type this up.
Well, it's all here, Sam. Except one thing. How did the bloody tomahawk get in Chief Black Cloud's bag?
A little white lilac planted it there. If anything happened to the chief, she, as the only other living nipmuck, would inherit the wampum.
Well, she could have gotten the money by just waiting.
Oh, shut up.
Sam, you notice anything about the report?
Yeah. Hey, you got the name of the caper right. The, Chargaga... Oh, what is it?
Chagagagog, Manchagagog, Chabunamungamog caper.
You've been going out with an elocution teacher.
Oh, Sam.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigan. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to...
Get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie. Keeping all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Oh, murder.
Oh, Sam, have you had a hard day?
Murderous? 9 this morning, I grinned through 25 poses, count 'em, over dishes of all 25 varieties of Sanderson succulent soup, a meal in a can. Then,
Really, Sam?
Then I was imprisoned in a plush chair for 2 hours with a glass in my hand.
No.
Yes, of Brannigan's Bog, the whiskey that smells like Old Ireland.
Sounds interesting.
It wasn't. They wouldn't let me touch it till after.
Aw.
And for the rest of the afternoon, I've been pulling up my trousers.
Woo.
For a series of leg art shots which will bear the legend, Samuel Spade, prominent San Francisco detective, says McGonagall's grip tight is the garter for me.
Oh, Sam, how thrilling to be prominent.
Maybe so, but fame is a sometime thing, sweetheart. Just a flash bulb in the pan, as you will agree when you have heard my report on the Cheesecake Caper. I ought to be infectious. I'm beautiful to see.
Oh, Sam, it was a photography caper?
Yes, and as it developed, it was a snap. Does that make you shatter?
Oh, Sam.
Well, have you got any photography jokes?
No.
All right, then. We just saved 30 seconds. And, by the way, Miss Perrine, statistics prove that 9 out of 10 private secretaries have the pencil ready when the boss comes in. Why do you always have to be number 10?
Well, I'm ready, Sam. Here's the pencil.
That's better. 2, Homicide Division, San Francisco Police Department. Attention, Lieutenant Kelsey from Samuel Spade, license number 17596. Subject, the Cheesecake Caper. Dear Kelsey. Down. Cheesecake, to me, was something that cost 25 cents on the a la carte side of a menu up until now. As a matter of fact, the cheesecake theme didn't make itself felt until sometime after the beginning of this, which was a phone call at high noon, just as I was wondering where I'd eat. Sam Spade.
Mr. Spade, I gotta see you right away. What are you doing?
About to go to lunch. Who's this?
I'll tell you later. I gotta see you first. Right now.
Well, all right. You want to come to my office?
No, I'm at Barney's Grill. You know where that is?
Yeah, I know where that is. Who will I ask for?
Just go in and order a sandwich. Nobody sent for you, see? You You just come in for lunch.
I just go... let me get this straight now. You hiring me?
Yeah. Yeah, $50 in it for you, Spade. All I got. But remember, you don't know nothing about it, see? You just came by for lunch.
Wednesday is when they have sauerbraten and potato pancakes at Barney's, but then it had been only that very morning that my secretary, Miss Effie Perrine, had looked at my figure, of which she is usually inordinately fond, and made certain remarks to the effect that a few of my pounds needed devaluating. So I decided on a sandwich. The business crowd hadn't arrived, so I slid into a vacant booth, ordered my sandwich, and waited for something to happen.
Well, Spade.
Huh?
You remember me, Spade, Fred Malloy?
Yeah, afraid so. Last I heard, you were in Cleveland.
Yeah, but I'm in San Francisco now.
Well, Cleveland's gain is our loss.
I like it here.
Maybe they had a hot spell in Cleveland, huh?
Heat never bothered me much.
Yeah, you ought to be used to that by now.
Let's talk about you, Spade. How's business, huh?
Please, I'm eating.
Yeah, so I noticed. You like Barney's, huh?
As good as the next joint, yeah.
I mean, you come in here all the time, regular. You ain't here on business now, are you, Spade?
Sure, Freddie, sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, making a little deal.
Yeah, who with?
Barney, corned beef on rye.
Oh.
Here you are, sir. One corned beef on...
What's the matter?
The cook loused it up, sir. You said rye, didn't you? This here's wheat.
Oh, that's all right. Here.
No. I'll fix it up, sir. Only take...
Forget it. I said wheat's all right. Now, how about a cup of coffee and I'm all set?
Denny.
Yeah?
You said you were going off duty.
Yeah, I know. I'm just finishing up a couple of orders. I'll get my hat.
Never mind the hat. Come on, Denny. I'm parked out front. I hate to get wrong with cops.
Yeah. Okay. Tell the boss
I already told the boss. Get going. So long, Spade.
Just stay there and enjoy your sandwich, sir.
Yeah, so long. The waiter, of course, was the guy who'd called me, a white-faced young kid sweating with his black tie up under his left ear. They walked outside and got into a car parked in front of the restaurant. Of all things, a limousine with a liveried chauffeur. I watched through the front doors. It pulled away, picked up the license number, and called the Department of Motor Vehicles. The car belonged to Mike Sheldon, known to the voters of the North Beach section as Uncle Mike, a white-haired, jolly-faced gentleman of dubious means and still more dubious methods who had something to do with politics. What he had to do with a weasel like Freddie Malloy, much less a poor waiter boy at Barney's, was something to ponder. I sidled back to my booth and attacked the corned beef on wheat. My teeth, instead of going all the way through the sandwich, which is the way I like it, struck something firm and unyielding. I pulled from between the lettuce and the bread a wax paper envelope. Inside was a $50 bill and a small photograph of a blonde. Denny, the waiter, had scribbled 3 words in the corner of it. Find this girl.
You care for some more coffee, sir? I got
Yeah. Bring the pot, will you? And, waiter.
Yes, sir?
This, Denny, the kid who was just here. What's his last name?
Denny? It's Weston. Denny Weston.
Yeah, okay. Where's he live, you know?
Well, I'm not sure. I think he has an apartment out around Larkin Street somewhere, but I'm not sure. Is he a funny kid?
Yeah, what's funny about him?
Well, I mean, working as a waiter in a joint like this when his sister had all that dough living in that Nob Hill apartment and all, you know.
Who's his sister?
Monica Weston. You must have heard of her. Used to be a dancer in some joint over in North Beach.
Well, I don't get around much anymore.
Well, you saw the papers, didn't you?
She was in the papers?
Yeah, committed suicide. Then he nearly went off his rocker.
Wait a minute. Look, is this here his sister?
Oh, let me see. No. Monica was a redhead. This here's a blonde. Well, I'd better get you that coffee while it's out. Be right with you.
I examined my sandwich for further clues, found nothing except corned beef, so I put it back together and began to eat it while I scrutinized the picture of the blonde. A nice-looking girl in her 20s, no scars, birthmarks, buck teeth, or anything else to set her apart from roughly 25,000 other blondes in San Francisco. There were a couple of points, though. The picture was about 2 inches square, showing her head and shoulders, and her hand was up to her face as if she was surprised at something near the camera. On one of her fingers was a ring, which I couldn't quite make out. On the back of the picture were the letters L-P. Now, this is probably the credit stamp of some professional photographer. I abandoned my sandwich, thumbed through the yellow section of the phone book, and stifled a cry of triumph as I discovered the firm of Leonard and Perkins, photographers, with an office on Bush Street, where forthwith I went.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Spade. I don't think we did that here.
You're sure that's not your mark on the back, Mr. Leonard?
Oh, positive. And anyway, that's not the kind of work we do. Looks like an outdoor flash shot. Ours is all studio stuff. Funny trimming it down like that.
Trimming it down?
Yeah, this is probably a standard 8x10. Someone just cut the center out of it.
Thanks very much. Bye. So I went to the telephone book again, but instead of looking for the L-P as the front initials of the firm, I looked for them in the middle, since both ends of the photographer's credit stamp were trimmed off. And I ran across an outfit called Cal Pictures on Harrison Street.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to speak to the proprietor, please.
There's three of them. Mr. Murphy, Mr. Silverian, and Mr. Brennan. Take your pick.
Murphy will do.
He's out.
How about Silverian?
Tied up with Mr. Brennan.
Where are they tied up?
First door to your right. That's the main studio. Do not enter if the red light is on.
Heaven forfend.
No.
Al, will you let me do it my way?
There's no human interest.
I have seen photographers at work in my time, but not like this. I saw now why they were tied up. They were fit to be tied. In the middle of the studio was a mass of equipment that looked like a cross between the Palomar telescope and an atom smasher, with what seemed to be a stretched-out accordion on the bottom. All of it pointed at something lit up by floodlights on a small table. When I got up close, I found out what it was. Brennis and Silveria were photographing a plate of pork and beans.
Al, for crying out loud, look at that pork.
What is the matter with that pork?
What's the matter with it? It just lies there.
What do you expect it to do, Chemmy?
Excuse me, fellas,
When did we hire you?
You didn't. I only wanted to...
don't pay any attention to him, John. Now, come on, focus.
Focus. Now, what's the use?
Let-
Why waste the shot? You know what he said? The pork's got to have get up and go.
Get up and go.
It's got to look succulent. It's got to look married to those beans.
What do you want me to do? Sprinkle it with orange sauce?
Look, fellas, I really don't want to interrupt.
You're no good, Silveri. You know what they're going to run under the shot, don't you? Nussbaum's New England pork and beans, married in the can.
Can I be best man?
Okay, what do you want?
I'm only Sam Spade, a private detective, trying to locate this girl here.
What girl?
Ever seen her?
Sure.
Where?
Well, this is our shot. Look, you remember, Al, the cheesecake job the other night? Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Cheesecake job?
Down at the railroad.
Yeah, that was for Norby's nifty nylon.
You mean this girl's a model?
No. She walked in front of the camera at just the wrong time and loused up the shot. We had to shoot it over.
Yeah, we had a model with a pair of Norby's nylons on, see? Well-known brand of stocking, and the idea was to stand her up next to a train coming down at the depot there.
Then what we tried to do was get a shot of her fixing a guard, a leg guard, you know.
Yeah.
Surefire.
Yeah, with a lot of admiring glances from the crowd.
Brand new idea. Real train, real station, real people.
Documentary.
Yeah. So Al sets up the camera, and the model makes with the garter, and I whistle to get the crowd's eye, and we set off the flash. But the dame here walked in front of the camera.
However, it was not her fault.
No, it was an awful nice kid. We told her to drop by, we'd give her the shot.
Great, swell. What's her name?
I don't know.
Did she come by?
Yeah, a couple of mornings ago. I gave her the print and the negative, too.
Got any other copies of it?
Well, I don't know. It'll take us a while to check the file.
Oh,
Well, look, do that, will you? And if you find anything, here's my phone number.
Yeah. Now, as I was saying about that pork, John,
again with a
your
pork.
pork is your pork. There is nothing you can do to glamorize it.
I glamorize the number of porks.
So I bought an afternoon paper and went back to the office to take the load off my feet and mull over this latest turn of events. I mulled, decided to contact Denny Weston, my client, found his phone number in the book, and was about to call when the phone went off in my hand. Sam Spade.
Spade, this is Denny Weston, the waiter. I'm the guy who...
Yeah, I know. I was about to call you.
Don't call me, understand? You don't know me. I never saw you.
Wait a minute now. I've been chasing that blonde all afternoon.
You got your $50, didn't you?
What's the matter? Is Freddie standing there with a gun at your back?
Shut up about Freddie.
Okay, then let's talk about your sister Monica, or maybe this blonde you stuck in my corned beef sandwich. And don't let Freddie throw a scare into you. Hello, Denny? So that left me with a set of grim suspicions, a $50 bill, and no client. I put my feet up on the desk and opened the paper. Then I put my feet back down on the floor. On the front page was a picture of my blonde with a caption over it reading, "You know this girl." I took the other picture out of my pocket and compared them. They were the same except for one thing. The picture in the paper was taken on a slab in the city morgue. While putting my shoes back on, I read the article under the picture of my blonde. It was simple enough. She'd turned up in the bay near the yacht harbor an hour before with a bullet in her back. The paper said nothing about identification. It didn't have to. Knowing you as I do, Lieutenant, I realized if there had been anything on the body to identify it, the picture wouldn't have been in the paper.
Now, pictures, Prentice.
This is Spade. You got anything on that front of the blonde?
But we're still on the pork and beans.
Yeah, well, drop it for now, will you? And check the files. And if you find the print, sit on it or put it in the safe or something. Understand?
But the pork and
The pork and beans will have to wait until we find who put the lady in the bay. I had a pretty good idea who put the lady in the bay, but why and how to prove it was something else again. So I turned back to the picture, got out my 15-cent store magnifying glass, and took a closer look at the ring in her hand. It seemed to be black, shaped like a shield with a gold center that looked like a dagger and a mask. 5 telephone calls later, I found the company that made it for an honor society at the University of California.
Blue and gold office.
Is that the campus yearbook, the blue and gold?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Do you publish the pictures of the members of the Mask and Dagger Society?
We sure do. Who's this?
My name is Spade. I'm trying to locate one of the members of the society. Have you got the yearbook files in your office?
Clear back to 1895.
Well, good. Get out the books from about 1940 on, will you? I'll be over in a half hour. We found her in the class of 1941. Her name was Helen McKelvey.
Yes. What is it?
I understand a Miss Helen McKelvey lived here.
No, I never heard of her.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not going to hurt you. You're the landlady here, aren't you?
I tell you, I don't know any McKelvey.
Well, the city directory lists her at this address.
It must be a mistake.
I don't think
Please,
so.
I don't know anything. I tell
Come
you.
on now, sit down. Do you good to get it off your mind. There you are. Sit down.
I don't know anything.
Oh, look, that's not going to help any. I told you, I'm on your side.
Who are you?
Sam Spade. I'm a private detective. Now, you know where Helen McKelvey is right now, I suppose.
Yes, I do.
Well, I'm trying to find out who put her there and why.
Then what?
I'll hang it on him if I can. That's why I'm here. Now, tell me, what did Helen have to do with Mike Sheldon? Come on.
Well, I don't know much about it. She was a lovely girl. Strange, you know, she kept things to herself mostly.
What kind of things?
She was doing some kind of political work in the North Beach district.
You mean she was working for Mike Sheldon?
Oh, against him.
Oh?
They were trying to defeat him, expose his rackets and his gambling, and heaven knows what else he was involved in.
Heaven knows indeed.
And she took it all so seriously. Petitions and leaflets and telephone calls.
I see.
I kept telling her she was working too hard, and her health would go. And it did. Last election time, she spent a week in the hospital. But it was all useless. Sheldon was too big, too powerful. Why, he never even heard of her.
I can guarantee you didn't know her by sight.
I know. Then last week, a strange thing happened. I arranged for her to spend the weekend with my sister in Palo Alto.
Mm-hmm.
She came back Monday, terribly excited. And at last she had a weapon against Mike Sheldon.
What did she mean?
I don't know. But it wasn't just Sheldon. It was his whole organization. And she sounded crazy, like she was going to tackle them all by herself.
Then what?
And she packed her suitcase and moved out to some hotel. She wouldn't say where. I was worried about her. I looked through her room afterwards. That's when I found this clipping.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Last Thursday's Chronicle.
Does it help?
Police seek motive in showgirl suicide. Investigation of circumstances surrounding the suicide of Monica Weston, nightclub dancer, moved into its third day without producing a reason why the girl apparently took her own life Friday night by leaping from a southbound train. Train! I took off for headquarters where, as you'll recall, Kelsey, we went over the file on the showgirl caper. As you'll also recall, we came up with nothing that wasn't in the newspaper. The girl had apparently climbed aboard the train at 3rd and Townsend, eased down the aisle to the end of the car where a porter had left the door open, and flung herself off on the straightaway stretch near South City, where the train hits it up around 70 miles an hour. She'd been pretty, unaccountably prosperous, and hardly a candidate for suicide. But nothing had turned up in her background to set her up as a candidate for murder either. So that's where it stood. 2 dead young ladies and a missing cheesecake photograph of Norby's nifty nylon. Feeling this is enough for a day, I limped back to my apartment. I tossed my hat on the bed and started to pour myself a drink.
Oh, you never want to do that, Spade.
Huh? Oh, Freddie.
Dumb stunt tossing your hat on the bed. It's bad luck.
Yeah, that's not so bad, Freddie. Well, I expect to go home to a cold, empty apartment, and I find you. How about a drink?
Oh, no, thanks. I didn't come to drink.
Oh, how'd you get in? Walk under the door?
Oh, in a gay mood, ain't you?
I'm a cheerful type.
Had a busy day, Spade?
Oh, ran a few errands. There's an ugly rumor running around town, Freddie.
Huh?
They're saying Uncle Mike Sheldon played sucker for this Monica Weston dame, that she was shaking him down and he got tired of it, what with the election coming up and all.
Yeah?
It's a fact. And they say she didn't commit suicide at all.
Well, where'd you hear this?
In Union Square while I was feeding the pigeons.
You think I'm kidding, huh? You think I'm kidding?
Now, wait. You know what happens to boys who play with guns, Freddie?
Shut up. Go on, answer it.
Okay. Hello.
Mr. Spade?
Yeah?
Silveria at Cal Pictures.
Uh-huh.
Listen, about that cheesecake shot.
Oh, now, Luella, don't take on. So I didn't mean it that way.
Luella? No, I'm talking about the cheesecake shop down at the depot.
Luella, honey, the girl is only a good friend. It's all your imagination.
Well, it's not my imagination. We found the print in the files, and it's here. The secretary just pulled a boner.
Whatever do you mean?
Someone named Mike Sheldon called, and she told him that we had it. Now, he's on his way here to pick it up.
No. Listen, Luella, don't do it. I'll be right down. Sorry, Freddie.
No. You ain't going nowhere, Spade.
Look, Freddie, this girl, she's all worked up about nothing.
Even the pigeons, huh? You want to know what you were doing, Spade?
What?
I'll tell you. 1:30 p.m. Went to a photographer's on Harrison Street. 3 p.m. across to the campus at Berkeley. 10 after 4 to a rooming house on Bay Street. And from 5:30 to 7 at headquarters. Feeding the pigeons, huh?
You're just like Luella, Freddie. Your imagination's running away with you. Come on, have a drink.
Now, I told you I don't want to drink.
The bottle was half full, but it seemed like a good investment. Freddie took it just over the left ear, sighed, and sat on the floor. I dragged him into the closet, locked it, and took her off the Cal Pictures.
All right, Al, have it your way. Well, if we lose a New Farm New England bean account, don't come sniveling to me.
Where's the picture?
Hello, Spade.
Oh, come on, John. Now focus down on it. Let's get this thing.
The beans. 2 days' work.
Hey, what's the big idea?
I'm sorry, fellas. I accidentally hit it with my elbow. I'll buy you a new can tomorrow. Where's the picture?
On the table there.
I brought her over the floodlight and looked at her. The blonde was in the foreground, blocking out the model with the garter, but the shot wasn't entirely worthless since directly behind her, about to get on the train, looking squarely into the camera, was Monica Weston, the dead showgirl, and with her, with his white mane a-flying, was you-know-who.
Now, wait a minute. You can't barge in like this.
All right, hold it, boys.
I ducked out of the circle of light as they came in, Sheldon first and 3 others. The gun in my hand made me feel better, but not much better. They closed the door, and the room was pitch dark again, except for the spot of light in the center.
Okay, Spade, where is it? I know you're in there, Spade.
You're a little late, Sheldon. We sent it to headquarters.
Yeah? Well, I think you've got it right here.
She had a negative, you know. Mailed them around like postcards.
I'm not worried about the others. Come on now, let's have it. You hear what I said, Spade?
Yeah? Come and get it.
Okay. Now, hold it, boys. Okay, Spade. I'll come and get it.
Good old New Farm Spade. He started for me, stepped squarely on the porch, looped, knocked over the light stand, and we were all in the dark. I groped my way toward the door, came up against a shelf full of supplies when somebody whammed me by the skirt and the shelf went over. It sounded like a machine gun company on battle maneuvers. The mob hit the door in a rush, all that is except Sheldon, whom we found when we finally got the lights back on, trying to untangle himself from A, the floodlight stand, B, the table that had held the pork and beans, and C, 50 feet of light cable. Silveria was sitting in the middle of everything, sobbing softly.
3 brand new crates. 450 bucks worth of flash. And our last can of Nussbaum's pork and beans.
And that tells you about wine for that. Now I have in your hands my account of the affair, plus the cheesecake photograph, plus Michael Sheldon, who is, I admit, a fairly solid adversary. But, of course, this is fairly solid ammunition. Period, and a report. F, make an extra copy of that for Denny Weston, if and when he ever comes out of that hole he ducked into when Sheldon started making with a threat.
Oh, if I'd had the least notion you were in such peril. I've been worried to death.
The peril didn't start until the next day, sweetheart.
The next day?
Yeah, that's when Brennis looked at me, squinted, and said, you know, Al, this guy's got just the face for Brannigan's Bog, the whiskey that smells like Old Ireland.
Oh, how awful.
A fate worse than death, sweetheart, but that is all behind me, while directly in front of you is, of course, the...
Typewriter. Yes, sir. I'll have it right away. The blonde, Sam.
Yeah.
What was she trying to do with a picture of Uncle Mike with the other girl at the station?
You mean, why didn't she go to the police like any normal human being?
Uh-huh.
Well, it's hard to say, Eph. She was really a sincere reformer. From here, it looks like she was trying to work up a partnership with the dead showgirl's brother. Maybe put the squeeze on Uncle Mike and force him to come across with names, numbers, and salaries of the members of his graft machine. Besides,
What?
she was a woman. Come here. A mad, unpredictable, illogical creature.
Oh, Sam.
Effie Perrine, the non-alcoholic secretary that contains lanolin.
Well, that's better than Brannigan's Dog, the whiskey that smells like Old Ireland.
Sure, it's a fine and broth of a girl that you are, and I'll be saying good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade stars Howard Duff as Spade, with Lorene Tuttle as Effie. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin, and new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo.
Sam Spade Detective Agency?
It's me, sweetheart. You've heard of pulling a rabbit out of a hat?
Yes?
Well, I pulled one out of a pickle.
What happened, Sam?
What happened, she asked. Well, goodbye.
Oh, don't go, Sam. Don't you feel like talking about it?
Frankly, no, but it's expected of me. Sharpen a carrot, throw me some rabbit punch, get the hutch ready, for I'm about to hippity-hop through the door with the lowdown on the Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail caper.
Dashiell Hammett, America's leading detective fiction writer and creator of Sam Spade, the hard-boiled private eye, and William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, join their talents to make your hair stand on end with the Adventures of Sam Spade. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil for the hair. Say, Mother, if you got a special thrill out of buying things the whole family can use, then stop at your drug or toilet goods counter for a big family-sized bottle or tube of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's favorite family hair tonic. Dad, Junior, Sis, yes, and you yourself, Mom, will find Wild Root Cream Oil ideal for grooming the hair neatly and naturally, for relieving dryness and removing loose dandruff. So, Mom, ask for it tonight or tomorrow for sure. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff starring as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in the Adventures of Sam Spade.
What's the meaning of this?
Of what?
My desk and my chair shoved over to one side of the office.
To make room for the other desk and the bookcase.
There'll be no other desk and no bookcase and no anything else.
But, Sam, I thought you...
Don't say it. Don't even think about that man. You understand? It's deliciously silent in here, don't you think, Ed?
Sam, weren't you and he supposed to go
Stop. Effie, would you like to have your mouth dry cleaned?
No, Sam. I'm sorry.
I spoke harshly, forgive me, but the past hours have taken their toll on my nerves. Perhaps I should unburden myself. We'd all feel better.
All right, Sam. Unbourbon yourself.
I'm still in command here.
Oh.
2, this is Wellington, Van Cleve, Montague, Nob Hill, where else? City, from Samuel Spade, license number 137596. What else? Subject, the Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail Caper, or how Fritz Crockett saved the day. My dear, dear Mrs. Montague. It all began Thursday afternoon when I entered my office and discovered a tall, wiry young man sitting in my chair with his feet up on my desk and sampling my office bottle.
Hi.
The pose was so familiar for a minute I thought it was me.
Hello, Sam. I'll be with you in a minute. Have a seat.
Thanks, I think I will. The one you're sitting in. You see, the detective sits in that seat and the clients sit over there.
Well, that qualifies me for this seat, then. I'm a detective.
I see. Well, the detective we like in this office is Sam Spade, see? He pays the rent, he hires the secretary, he earns the money, and he sits behind his desk. Now, on your feet.
Okay. But with 2 detectives around here and only 1 detective's chair, it's going to get a little crowded.
Mind if I have a drink? Out of my glass?
Oh, sure. Here. You know, we'd better make a note to get another glass, too. And some scotch. I don't care much for that bourbon.
No self-respecting detective drinks scotch.
And put this down. We'll need another desk and new paint job on these walls.
Oh?
I think something bright. Robin's egg blue, maybe. Soothes the nervous clients. And a bookshelf. You got that, Effie, dear? Or am I going too fast?
All down, Fritz. Desk, paint, bookshelf, scotch.
That too, Effie?
She's a doll.
Wait a minute, that's my line.
After I work with you a while, Sam, you'll appreciate me.
So long.
I'm great.
Bye.
You need me.
Why?
Because we'd be an unbeatable team. With high talent and your luck, we couldn't miss.
What?
Ever hear of Fritz Crockett?
Chicago Fritz Crockett?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
Oh, Sam.
Look, you're making a mark in your hometown. Now, why do you want to work for me in San Francisco?
I lost my license in Chicago. Got caught on the hot side of a political battle. Worked for the losers, and the winners framed me for my license.
Oh, gee, tough kid.
I can't get a license in any state until I clear that mess up. And so I have to work under somebody else's.
Figures, but why me?
Because I've kept my eye on you, Sam. I like the way you're developing. I think you could work well with me.
Gee, thanks. Well, your application's received. Now, give me a couple of years to think it over.
What's the matter, Sam? Afraid I might cut your reputation in town?
You found me out. But anyway, bye.
Chicken, huh? Look, you want to compare scrapbooks sometime? A really good detective's got to be an actor. I play any style. Listen, we're following a Russian countess to recover Gorky's original manuscript of the lower depths. I meet her in the lobby of the St. Mark, disguised as an itinerant caviar salesman. Countess Natasha Mishakov. Oh, here in San Francisco, my dear. How long has it been? 8 years, 12 years. Have you forgotten little Andrea so soon?
Andrea, sorry, no casting today.
Well, look, you gotta be an actor, Sam. Look, we're dealing a mortal blow to the gun-running career of Don Jose Ortega Sanchez, the notorious bandit king.
Oh,
Don Jose, you have run your last peace-loving border countries. I am powerless to prevent your execution. Die like the proud Spaniard you are. Cigarette?
Fritz, for heaven's sake.
I help you, Sam. Look, you've been captured by a mutinous crew off an English tramp steamer, and I burst through the door. Get your bloomin' bloody hands off that man.
This one I can do myself. Off a mode, Tigger. I don't know exactly why I sat there listening to the guy, but I did. He was a sort of a one-man theater guild. He ran through 28 dialects, played a scene in which James Mason and Montgomery Clift were trapped by an Armenian rug merchant and was saved by the voice of Gabriel Heater on the radio. Then he played all 4 of the Marx Brothers arguing with the Andrews sisters. Then, after the intermission, he told me a little bit about himself, regaling me with spine-tingling accounts of his Frank Merriwell-type achievements on the football field, in professional boxing, and hockey. It was pretty thrilling stuff, but nonetheless, I was about to usher him out when he came up with a particularly good bit of dialogue.
I have a job for us.
Yeah, well, so... John, where?
Yesterday, Sam, I met an old friend from Chicago. She remembered me from an important cocktail party. Saved it for her, the party. Everyone was absolutely dreary until I became de rigueur with a brace of amusing anecdotes.
The job, Fritz, the job.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, she wants us to guard a valuable hunk of jewelry at a party tonight on Nob Hill.
What's the money?
$100 apiece, plus mingling with nautch dancers and all the caviar we can eat.
Well, it's better than I expected. In fact,
now, here's what I want you to do.
Oh, wait a minute. What's this here's what I want you to do? This is the Sam Spade Detective Agency, named so because Sam Spade is the man who gives the orders around here. Now, what do you want me to do?
Well, this is a costume party, and we have to wear costumes. It's in the deal.
Good. I'll break your leg, and you can go as the man who came to dinner.
Sam, I already have the costumes.
What?
Right here.
Crockett, what would you have done if I didn't go with you?
The thought never entered my head, Sam.
What are the costumes?
Sam, 100 clams apiece is a lot of dough, isn't it?
Agreed.
You are about to confront the reason we are being paid so much.
What is that?
Your costume. You are to go as a rabbit, a white rabbit. Here's the suit. Oh, and here's the head. Notice the shocking pink ears.
No, the deal's off. It's been swell, Fritz.
Now, wait a minute. I am also going as a rabbit. See? You will go as Flopsy, and I will go as Mopsy.
I will not go anywhere dressed in that ridiculous outfit.
$100, Sam.
I will... Well...
Sam, let's talk this over. Now, look, I will talk to you as a businessman might talk to you. Now, Mr. Spade, you take your ordinary type detective, and you have got it pretty solid.
We talked and talked, and around 8 o'clock that night, I found myself still talking and walking up the steps of your Nob Hill mansion, Mrs. Montague, cleverly disguised as Flopsy the rabbit, paw in paw with Mopsy Crockett. My headpiece covered everything but my eyes, nose, and mouth, and I was grateful for that. When I passed the doorman, I was tempted to say, what's up, Doc? But Fritz said it ahead of me. He walked in as if this were his personal hutch, and you, Mrs. Montague, cruised over to us.
Here, my little bunny twins, aren't you both just darling?
Yeah.
Which one of you is Mr. Spade?
Well, I'm Mr. Crockett, Mrs. Montague. Mopsy. You remember me from the Nesbit soiree, Ronnie and Benita, or maybe it was Gypsy introduced us, n'est-ce pas?
Oh, yes. Oh, and Flopsy here must be Mr. Spade. I've always wanted to meet him.
Thank you, Mrs. Montague. I am the straight man.
How do you like my costume?
Well,
there's not another one like it in town. I'm the only wooden imp in San Francisco.
The trees will swoon. They will.
Mrs. Montague, perhaps you're disposed to outline our job.
Well, of course, Mr. Crockett. Myself, Mrs. Arlington Crippen McGill, and the famous Spanish artist Julio Duriego are going to pick the woman with the most fascinating costume.
Search no farther. It could be no one but you.
Flatterer! I'm not eligible.
Oh.
Then, at 10 o'clock, we will have the grand parade. The winner will lead the parade wearing a small jewel-studded crown. Oh, darling. Diamonds and memories and all sorts of amusing things. Well, this crown once belonged to Josephine of France. Imagine.
Mrs. Montague, I hate to be an old killjoy, but are we here to guard the crown?
That's right, Flopsy. I mean, Mr. Spade.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, of course, I don't expect any trouble, but it's so valuable. I can't take any chances. My husband picked it up in Iran. He's in pickles, you know.
Well, you know best.
Where is the crown now, Mrs. Montague?
Oh, in the wall safe in the master bedroom on the second floor. Here's the combination to the safe written down.
I'd rather not have the combination, if you don't mind, until it's time to get the crown.
Oh, now don't you be silly, Mr. Spade. Except for the crown, there's only $50,000 or $60,000 in the safe.
Oh, well, if that's all
now, the safe is behind the Degas original. Now, until I need you, go and enjoy yourself.
Well, we'll go.
Maybe I'll even let you dance with little me.
Fritz and I synchronized our watches and decided that until we were needed, we would lose ourselves in the crowd and keep our big rabbit ears open. Everybody was masked and loaded, and it was all very gay. I brushed elbows with pirates, Northwest Mounted Police, unmounted, a gorilla, an Arabian princess, 4 Pocahontas, and a sort of historical characters from Julius Caesar to Mike Romanoff. While I was dipping a carrot into the punch bowl, a girl made her way over to me. I knew it was a girl immediately. You could tell. I tagged her as a burlesque queen, but she didn't talk much like it.
Are you an he-bunny or a she-bunny?
I'm a he-bunny.
Would you like to dance with me?
I'd be delighted.
Who are you?
I'm not supposed to tell until the mask come on. For now, just call me Flopsy.
Flopsy? How cute. You Americans have the cutest ideas.
Yes. Speaking of ideas, what do you represent?
Oh, I am a funny bergère dancer. Do you like me?
From where I stand, it would be next to impossible to dislike you.
C'est ce qu'il pensait.
Believe me, it was easy. Tell me, have you been in this country long?
A few weeks. My family has sent me on a tour of America.
I see.
I am here as a guest of Monsieur Montagu. Now tell me, you are a detective, are you not?
As much as I regretted doing it, I hastily detached myself from Miss Foley's Bergère of 1949. How she knew I was a detective puzzled me. I saw Crockett talking with a paunchy red devil and a middle-aged Christopher Columbus and stopped by. They were big businessmen, obviously, and so was he.
Well, now, you take your ordinary horse paper brief. If it's double duty voice.
It was impossible to interrupt him, so I moved on. Finally, I sat down to rest in a dim corner of the library, and I no sooner did than a large green pickle with two bandy legs sticking out of it sat down beside me.
Want to buy the pickle?
No, thanks.
Go ahead, it's free.
I only eat carrots. Thank you, just the same.
I suppose you know who I am?
As a matter of fact, I don't know.
Well, I shouldn't tell you, but I'm lonesome for somebody to talk to.
Yeah,
my wife's dancing with another man. Sometimes I think she only likes me for my money.
I find that hard to believe.
I have millions, just millions. I'm Horace Montague, the Pickle King. I've sold more pickles than any living man.
Congratulations.
You like my costume?
Never smelled anything like it.
I came this time as just an ordinary new pickle. Sometimes I come as a dill, sometimes I come as a gherkin.
Oh, jolly.
Once I came as a sweet-sour mixture, and I got very confused.
Well, that's up to you.
I guess all I really have is my money, but I get tired of being so rich. It was fun in the early days. I was a pioneer, you know.
You started, I suppose, with just a wart.
Yes, that's very funny, very funny.
Yes, well, keep laughing, Horace. I have to be running along.
Thank you for talking to me.
I was beginning to feel like an extra in Alice in Wonderland and headed back for the solace of the punch bowl. I saw Mopsy Crockett standing with a Foley's Bergère dancer and went over to him, but he suddenly turned and hopped away faster than I could hop after him. Why the coyness, I couldn't understand. When I finally caught up with him, 10 minutes later, he was waltzing with Anne of Austria, who was hanging on his every word, and that was a lot of hanging.
From dying until you tasted my Lebkuchen, you had the spirit of Goethe, Schiller, Heine, all baked in one Kuchen.
Mind if I cut in?
If you know.
I mean with the other rabbit. Come along, Mopsy.
Excuse me, darling. I come later back. Hello, Sam. What do you hear from the mom?
The idea of avoiding me.
Me? Avoid you? I don't know what you mean.
Crockett, don't you remember just 10 minutes ago my chasing you all over the floor?
So help me, I don't.
Oh, there you are, my little bunny.
Yeah, here we are, Mrs. Montague.
All right, you can give me the crown now. I'm almost ready to announce the winner of the costume contest.
We haven't taken it out yet, Mrs. Montague.
You haven't? Well, you just said you were going to get it.
I didn't. Did you, Fritz?
Not I, Flopsy.
Now, Bunny, stop playing jokes. One of you came up to me a couple of minutes ago and said you lost the combinations of the safe, so I gave it to you again. You said you were going to get the crown. Now, where is it?
I don't know, but let's find it. When we arrived in the master bedroom, the worst had happened. The Degas original was down off the wall. The safe had been opened. Believe it or not, the $50,000 or $60,000 habitually kept in it wasn't even touched. But you, Mrs. Montague, weren't worried about the cash.
Oh, it's not there. The Josephine crown is gone. Oh, this is frightful. What will Horace say?
We're sorry, Mrs. Montague.
Sorry, you were supposed to guard it. It's your fault. Maybe you stole it yourself.
Mrs. Montague, we did nothing at the
I
time.
distinctly remember saying you were going to get it, and I did give you the combination again. I know. Oh, it's Horace. Horace, what happened, hubby dear?
I was walking down the hall, and a bunny came running out. Dragged me into a room, made me take off my pickle.
Oh.
He hit me on the head with something, and he took off his bunny suit, jumped right into my pickle, and ran off. Oh, my head.
Crockett and I dashed down the hall to the room the Pickle King had abdicated. On the floor was the limp, unfilled costume of A. Rabbit. The Montague's party not only had a Flopsy and a Mopsy, but it also had a thieving Cottontail. The
makers of Wild Root Cream Oil, are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who bought Wild Root Cream Oil for the first time were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the new 25-cent get-acquainted bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I left Fritz Crockett and you, Mrs. M, attending to Horace in your master bedroom and pounded down the stairs, through the guests, and out the front door. I was standing there wondering where to pick up the tracks of a rabbit-turned-pickle when I saw the Foley's Bergère dancer come running out of the Montague mansion through a side entrance and enter a taxi. I jumped into another cab and followed her, divesting myself of my Flopsy costume en route. She went almost to the west end of O'Farrell Street and entered a shabby gray apartment house. I followed. I knocked on every door until I found hers.
Yes?
It's me, the he-bunny, Flopsy, remember?
Why did you follow me here?
Voila, because you're so beautiful. May I come in?
No.
Thanks.
I said no. Did you not hear me?
Yes, but have no fears. I'm bonded. How did you know there was a detective's heart beating under my rabbit suit?
I am not going to answer. You have no right to come in here.
Come on, huh?
I think I overheard somebody say it. Now, if that is all you wanted to know, please go.
Why did you leave the party early?
Because it bored me. I thought America was not a police state. Why am I being questioned?
Because somebody stole the Josephine crown that belonged to Mrs. Montague, you see.
I heard that it was stolen, and I am delighted, but I did not steal it.
What's your name?
Charmaine Roger, and what is yours?
Sam Spade. Why are you so happy that the crown was stolen?
Because it does not belong in the ugly home of a rich American party giver.
Oh?
A childish woman who thinks only of her social position and her money.
Where does it belong?
In France, where it was made and where it was appreciated.
I see. How much is it worth?
In money, almost 52 million francs. In sentiments, more than one can say. Now, will you leave me alone?
You're saying that the crown means more to a Frenchman than money,
How would you like it if your Abraham Lincoln's death was being used by some French businessmen to serve cocktails over?
I get the point.
I tell you again, I do not know what happened to the Josephine crown tonight. Do you believe me?
I did, but only because when she left the party, she wore only her costume, and that costume wouldn't have hidden, well, she couldn't have had it on her. I went a block up the street, picked up a cab, and sat in it until she came out 5 minutes later. She was now in street clothes and carrying an overnight case. She drove to Castle Street, and I followed. She went into a restaurant called La Parisienne. I waited a discreet moment, then went in. She was nowhere to be seen, but a tall, lean, black-haired individual approached me with a menu in his hand.
Good evening, monsieur. I regret to say that we are just closed.
I'm not interested in meeting you. Where's the girl who just came in?
Girl? In here?
Don't dummy on me. She walked right in here 30 seconds ago. Brown hair, red coat. Charmaine Roger by name.
You have made some mistake. You can see there was no one here.
I have made no mistake. Now come clean, will you?
Monsieur, contain yourself, please. Let me go. No girl came in, but if one did, there is no place to hide but the kitchen.
All right, then show me the kitchen.
Monsieur Bonneau. Monsieur. Oh, my. Spade.
Well, it didn't take you long to get here, Mr. Montague.
Well, Don't move, Mr. Spade. I have a knife at your neck.
Yes, I feel it.
Shall I take care of him, Monsieur Montague? No, Bonneau. Put down your knife.
Thanks.
Mr. Spade and I'll sit down at the table and talk quietly. You can go.
As you say, monsieur. But I will keep out an eye.
Let's keep an eye out. Sit down, please. Spade, while you're here, I have a personal matter to take up with you.
About the Josephine crown?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry to report that as yet I haven't found it.
Good. I'd be happy if you never found it.
Oh? Does Mrs. Montague know you feel this way?
No, and I'd be equally happy if she didn't know.
Mm-hmm. In other words, you want me to stop looking for it?
That's the idea. Oh, you could make a pretense of trying to find it, but no more.
That's interesting.
I'll pay you a good fee if you do this for me.
Why don't you want it found, Mr. Montague?
Well, I'll talk to you man to man.
Please do.
A French girl showed up in town.
Charmaine Roger?
Well, you've seen her. Quite a bit of her.
At the party?
Well, she's young and beautiful, and right to the point, I was indiscreet.
I see.
She turned out to be more designing than I realized.
A black man?
Of a sort. She didn't want just money. She wanted the Josephine crown.
And you let them steal it?
Well, I told them I'd get them into the party, furnish them a car, and the rest is up to them.
Why didn't you just give them the crown?
Well, I couldn't. My wife values it too much. It's her prized possession. She even wears it around the house when just the two of us are there.
Oh, that's cute.
Now, will you forget about this, Spade?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Montague. I'm hired out to your wife, who asked me to guard it. I did a bad job, so it's up to me to get it back, you see?
No, Spade, I can't afford a scandal with that girl.
Well, you'll have to work that out for yourself.
Very well. I'm sorry.
I must admit, Mrs. Montague, I underestimated your husband, for at that point he produced a gun out of thin air and very professionally relieved me of mine. He called the proprietor, Bonneau, who appeared with Charmaine Roger. They held an immediate kangaroo court. Sentence was about to be pronounced when the front door burst open, and in swept a tall character in black beret and cape and sporting a handlebar mustache. Prominently pinned on his cape were a brace of French war medals, including the Croix de Guerre and so on. His entrance held everybody bug-eyed, including me.
Keep your mouth shut, Spade.
What a joyous, charming gathering have we here. Oh, the glow of warm friendship fills the room like a cottage fireplace in Alsace-Lorraine. Ah, no, it cannot be. Can I believe these weary eyes of man? Is it not truly my intime ami, Monsieur Montague? I kiss you on both cheeks in happiness.
I don't seem to remember.
Oh, what? You have not so soon forgotten me. We met at the legation in 38. Oh, those years. Do you not recall the nights in Montmartre and the days in Montmartre? Oh, my goodness. Parbleu.
When he bent over to kiss Montague again, his mustache fell off. As usual, Crockett had overplayed. And before he could straighten up, Bonneau hit him in the back of the head, and he fell flat on his face, out cold. That was my cue to go into action. I turned over the table, wrestled with Horace and Bonneau, while Charmaine was striking at me with the heel of a shoe. I got to the gun first, and everything came to a sudden lull. At that point, Fritz Crockett came too.
Oh, mes amis, where did the sudden darkness come from?
Yeah, well, you can drop the dialect, Crockett.
Oh.
I wish I had a picture of you there on the floor for your scrapbook.
Oh, it was in the act, Sam, all in the act.
Yeah, well, you think you're well enough to hold this gun while I make a search?
Oh, leave it to me, Sam. Everything will be under control. Now, stand back, everybody. I'm in charge here. The U.S. government is not entirely without influence in Washington.
The Josephine crown hidden in the baking oven and called the police. I was afraid the incident struck a blow at Franco-American relations until a search of Charmaine Roger and Bonneau produced two tickets not to Paris or Pointe French, but to Rio de Janeiro. And you know the rest, Mr. Montague. Your husband went home and you forgave him. He made a superb gesture and contributed to international harmony by returning the Josephine crown to the French Historical Society. And when you asked who might be the man to guard the crown safely back to La Belle France, I was overjoyed to be in a position to recommend to you Fritz Crockett. I hope he marries Soubrette, who stays over there. Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, isn't that Fritz Crockett an exciting man?
Don't let's talk any more about him. Let him get his own program. The first person in his office to mention his name again is a rotten egg. Now go type that up.
Don't buy a different brand of hair tonic for every member of your family. Get the one kind they all like. Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. Get a bottle or tube tonight. And ask your barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Oh, thanks, Sonny.
Sam Spade Detective Agency. Oh, it's for you, Sam.
Hello.
It's me, Sam. Fritz.
Oh, no.
I'm at the airport. I just wanted to tell you I'll be out of town for a while. Won't be using the office, so just take the whole thing over.
Well, that's very generous of you.
And you can use Effie if you need her for anything.
Well, I'll never be able to repay you.
Oh, that's all right. You did a pretty good job on the caper today.
Thanks.
I was just talking with Mrs. Montague, and I told her, I said...
I'm looking over. I've heard enough of him for one day. Come here. So nice you'll have to be satisfied with my one arm.
Oh, that's good enough for me.
Good night, sweetheart.
Good night, Fritz.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Dashiell Hammett's famous private detective, are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. The Adventures of Sam Spade are written for radio by Bob Tallman and Gil Dowd. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Renee and Pierre Garrigank. Join us again next Sunday when author Dashiell Hammett and producer William Spear join forces for another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you transcribed by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy reminding you to
Get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. It keeps your hair in trim. You see, it's non-alcoholic, Charlie. It's made with soothing lanolin. You better get Wild Root Cream Oil, Charlie. Start using it today. You'll find that you will have a tough time, Charlie. Keep on all the gals away. Hiya, Baldy. Get Wild Root right away.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic and the new Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo present The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam. I'm glad you're back in town.
So am I, Effie. So am I. Confidentially, I didn't think I'd make it. Confidentially, that is.
Was it dangerous, Sam?
I should say it was. Why, for the past 24 hours, I've been at it hammer and tongs over hill and dale, through shot and shell. It was enough to turn any ordinary man's blood to ice and his hair pure white.
Oh, that sounds terrifying, Sam.
I wish it had been only terrifying, Effie. It was blood-curdling, spine-chilling, hair-raising. I was bored. It was also rural and countrified.
Well, what happened, Sam? Tell me.
You've heard of the Martins and the Coys?
No.
And the Boston Massacre?
No.
Custer's Last Stand?
No.
Well, put them all together, and they spell what I'll shortly be in a dictate, a report which I call in a burst of clever literary plagiarism, The Farmer's Daughter Caper.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective, starring Howard Duff. Produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Presented by the makers of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic, the non-alcoholic hair tonic that contains lanolin. To look your holiday best, friends, be sure to use Wild Root Cream Oil, America's favorite hair tonic. Wild Root Cream Oil grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves annoying dryness, removes loose, ugly dandruff. What's more, it's non-alcoholic and contains soothing lanolin. Get Wild Root Cream Oil in the big family-size bottle or handy tube. Ask for it at your drug or toilet goods counter very first chance you get. For the holiday and all year round, use Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, with Howard Duff as Spade, Wild Root brings to the air the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Effie,
I'm right here, Sam.
pull up all the shades.
All right, Sam.
Now, turn on every light in the place.
But it's daylight.
Do what I say.
All right, Sam.
Now, check the closets.
What for?
For snipers. What do you think?
All right, Sam. Nobody here.
Okay. I guess it's safe to come all the way in.
What's this all about, Sam? I don't understand.
Effie, it's just that I don't ever want to be caught in the dark again, especially when people are shooting at me. I want to see every nook and cranny of every square foot of land that surrounds me.
Sam, who was shooting at you? Where?
They were shooting from the left, from the right, from up above, down below, everywhere. Death was winging in on every breeze that blew, and they all blew my way.
Oh, Sam, now stop this. I'm just dying of curiosity.
When my time comes, I hope that's all I ever die of. Ready?
Yeah.
Date this week, to Mr. Elliot Parson, Parson Drive Yourself Garage, 1618 St. Charles Street, San Francisco, 13, California. From Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, the farmer's daughter caper. Dear Mr. Parson, I fear you have an explanation coming, one that you can pass along to your insurance company as to why the car I rented from you last week appeared as late as it did and in the condition it did. As you know, I rented said vehicle to drive to Middletown to bail a client out of the drunk tank. On the way back, a native showed me a shortcut, and I'll get him if it's the last thing I do. Dusk was falling, and so were my eyelids, when I saw a sign that said tourists invited. Behind it stood a ramshackle farmhouse in a surly woodland setting. I should never have knocked on that farmhouse door, but then I wouldn't have had any story to tell, would I?
Good evening, young man.
Good evening, madam. I'm afraid I need a room for the night.
Well, of course you do. Land sakes, you're tired. I can tell by your eyes. Been on the road long?
Too long.
Land sakes, of course you have. Come in, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
You'll find this is the homiest tourist home in California.
Really like mothers, eh?
Like your grandmother's. No electricity, no phones, just quiet.
I see.
Now, I have two rooms, a $3 one and a $5 one. Which one do you think you'd like?
What's the difference?
One less blanket, one squeaky spring, and with the $3 one, you might have to take a walk.
I'll take the $5 one, thank you.
I'm Mrs. Elkins. Mrs. Bert Elkins. Who might you be?
Sam Spade.
Spade? Land's sakes, that's a very unusual name. And who are you traveling with, Mr. Spade?
I'm alone.
Oh, I mean what company? We only accept traveling salesmen. You realize that.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm traveling for the makers of Mouton mustache wax.
Oh, use it all the time.
You are well-groomed, madam.
You will go far, young man.
Yeah, but before that, I'd like to go to bed.
Come on. This way.
She led me upstairs to my $5 room and left me. As lumpy as it was, the bed invited me, but I decided to shave first and thus facilitate an early start in the morning. I poured myself a drink out of my traveling bar kit and then stepped in to shave. It wasn't easy because all I had for light in there was an oil lamp. When I came back to the bedroom with a lamp in one hand, I stopped short in utter surprise. I'd heard about these things in traveling salesman stories, but I never expected to see it. She was sitting in an armchair smoking a cigarette. High heels, silk stockings, light rayon dress, and a face right off the cover of Cosmopolitan.
Hello, Sam.
Hello.
Mary Smith.
Huh?
Hope you don't mind me just barging in.
Well, no. No, that is,
Afraid I'll bite you?
It never entered my mind.
Well, I might. I'm so tired of talking to myself, I need someone like you. You know, you're not bad to look at.
Who, me?
Where do you live? What do you do for a living?
Well, I guess you'd call me independently wealthy. I wish someone would.
How nice. San Francisco?
There must be some fog on my lapel.
Look, Sam, I'll give it to you straight. I want to get out of here, go to San Francisco. Could you take a passenger tomorrow?
Well, what would your mother say?
She's my aunt. What do I care what she says? I don't belong on a farm. Out in the west, wet pasture ruins my nylons. I'm a city girl, Philadelphia.
Why did you leave?
My parents died. Look, Sam, I won't be a burden to you. I just want to get to San Francisco. After that, I'm on my own. Sam, take me with you. Please take me with you. You won't regret it.
Well, what am I going to do with this lamp?
Who cares? Oh, Sam.
What?
I thought I'd find something like this going on in here. Get out of here. Go back to your room, young lady. Go on. Now, Mr. Spade.
It does look bad, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm not blaming you, Mr. Spade. Nan's sakes, it's her. She ain't responsible for what she does. She's like this all the time.
I see.
Now, when I go out, you just lock your door. Just keep it locked.
But, ma'am, this is a $5 room.
A sleepless hour later, I heard something slide under my door. I looked and found it was a note that read, Mr. Spade, Sam, please unlock your door, and when the house is quiet, I'll come and see you. I'm desperate, terribly, terribly desperate. Don't leave me. Give me a chance to tell you what it's all about, please. Stupid me, I unlocked my door, dressed again, and waited. An hour and a half later, I heard my doorknob turning in the dark. The door opened quietly and quickly.
Sam, the things that go on in this house, they're insane.
Oh.
I've been here 3 months. When my father died, I had no money, and because Aunt Maud was my only relative, I came here. And ever since I came, they never let me out of the house for more than an hour. They never let me see anyone or do anything.
Why?
I wish I knew. 5 days ago, Uncle Bert left early one morning. He hasn't come back since. Aunt Maud says he's away on business. He doesn't have any business.
Well, even so, that doesn't seem strange to me.
Then there's my dog.
And what about it?
It disappeared the same night Bert did. They told me it ran away. I know it didn't. I've had it for 3 years. It never ran away.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I was sure I could hear it howling somewhere for 2 or 3 nights. Then the howling stopped. I think I know where it is. But I don't know why. It scares me.
Well, where do you think it is?
Sam, you're going to think I'm crazy right out of my mind, but... Well, about 150 yards behind the house, there's a hillside with an old cave in it.
Oh, an old cave.
I don't know what it's used for, but yesterday I saw the whole front end of it closed. Closed with dirt. Sam, they buried that dog alive in that cave. I know it.
Oh, wait a minute now. Did you ask Mrs. Elkins?
Yes. All she said was the dog ran away and mind your own business. She told me to leave the cave alone. Sam, let's go out there and look. Please.
Well... So big, brave, stupid Sam, idiot boy, allowed her to show me the back way out of the house, and we sneaked to the barn together. She found a shovel, and we walked to the cave. When my eyes got accustomed to the dark, I saw the entrance had been covered with dirt, and recently. I took the shovel while she stood watching. I cleared half of the dirt away and worked as quietly as I could, but apparently not quietly enough. A flashlight suddenly hit both of us in the face, and a shotgun barrel flashed in the beam.
Get away from there before I shoot your head off.
Point that thing someplace else, please, ma'am.
What do you think you're doing, mister?
Digging.
Mary, you get back to the house.
No. Aunt Maud, I won't.
Get back to the house before I count 3, or I'll put a load of buckshot right through you. Now, 1.
Aunt Maud, my dog is in there.
2.
All right.
Now, Mrs. Elkins, suppose you put that gun down and tell me what this is all about.
I got one thing to say to you, mister. Get in your car and get out of here, and don't waste any time doing it.
But, madam...
Your suitcase is in the car, and your $5 is with it.
Yeah, but...
Now get, or I should choose a trespasser. And I could do it, mister. Land sakes, I could do it. Now get.
So I got under guard to my car. I got in and drove off. And Mrs. Elkins stood in the driveway with a shotgun still pointed at me until I was out of sight. I turned left at the first crossroad, parked the car, and cut through the woods back to the farm. I could see a light in the living room. Nobody was in or near the barn. And when I got to the cave, there wasn't a sound anywhere. I picked up the shovel I dropped and started digging again. 30 minutes later, the shovel broke a small hole through into that cave, and a stifling blast of fetid air rushed out, and something leaped out at me in the dark. And it wasn't the dog. It was a human hand on a human arm.
The makers of Wild Root Cream Oil are presenting the weekly Sunday adventure of America's favorite private detective, Sam Spade. Now, here's important news on good grooming. If you want the well-groomed look that helps you get ahead, socially and on the job, listen. Recently, thousands of people from coast to coast who actually purchased Wild Root Cream Oil were asked, how does Wild Root Cream Oil compare with the hair tonic you previously used? The results were amazing. Better than 4 out of 5 who replied said they preferred Wild Root Cream Oil. Remember, non-alcoholic Wild Root Cream Oil contains lanolin. It grooms the hair naturally, relieves dryness, and removes loose, ugly dandruff. So if you want your hair to be more attractive than ever before, get the new 25-cent get-acquainted bottle of Wild Root Cream Oil, America's leading hair tonic, on sale at all drug and toilet goods counters. It's also available in larger economy bottles and the handy new tube. By the way, smart girls use Wild Root Cream Oil, too, and mothers say it's grand for training children's hair. Get Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. And now, back to the Farmer's Daughter Caper. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
already full of surprises. I should have been ready for the next one, but I wasn't. The loose earth, which had blocked the entrance to the cave, suddenly fell away, and I fell with it. Then I heard something like nothing on earth. Nails dragged across my face, taking skin and flesh with them. I twisted and went down, and something went down with me. The snarl became a voice.
Bury me alive! Bury me alive! I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
And he did his best, which was pretty good. Finally, I got a good hold on him and sat on his chest. After that, I lit a match and looked at a tall, thin man in his middle 40s. He was caked with mud from head to foot. His hands were impossibly torn and bleeding. I could guess why. Judging from the stubble on his face, he'd been bottled up in that cave at least 5 days. How he was still alive, I didn't know. He acted like a madman, and he had every right to. But surprise, when his eyelids fluttered open again, he read a very sane line.
I'm all done in. You got a drink, friend?
Not on me.
They hit me on the head and left me there. They thought I'd stay in there forever. Forever.
Who put you there? Who did it?
But they couldn't keep me there. I dug my way out, didn't I? Didn't I? I took my way out, didn't I?
The force of the bullets knocked them halfway back down the incline to the cave. All I could do was hit the dirt. Finally, when it seemed safe, I broke cover and ran smack into somebody carrying 2 bags.
No, please.
Let's have a look at you.
Sam, it's me. Sam, I knew you wouldn't go away without me. I knew it. I couldn't stay in that awful house any longer.
None of that now. Who was that shooting at you?
I don't know.
Where's your aunt?
House, I suppose. I slipped out the back way.
Any visitors tonight?
No. What is it? What is it?
I think I found your Uncle Bert. Come on. I led her back to the cave entrance and showed her the body of the man I'd dragged out. I watched her face a long time as she looked at him very carefully.
That's not Uncle Bert, Sam.
Really?
No. It's Mr. Linden. Jewelry salesman. Came to the place a few nights ago.
5 nights ago?
Yes, come to think of it.
The same night your uncle disappeared. Tell me, did you ask Mr. Linden to take you back to San Francisco the same way you asked me? Did you?
Yes. He said he would. Got up early and left without me.
He didn't get far. What kind of car was he driving?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Do you drive a car?
Yes, but
Here. Mine's down the road about 500 yards. Go to the nearest phone and call the highway patrol, a sheriff, anybody who represents law. Got that?
Yes, I know exactly what to do.
To make sure we were both thinking of the same thing to do, I followed her in the dark, watched her get into the car I rented from you, and drive off. Then I turned around, put a new clip in my gun, and walked back to the old homestead. It was still very homey. By the light of an oil lamp, Mrs. Elkins was peacefully knitting what looked like a shroud.
Why, Mr. Spade?
Why, Mrs. Elkins?
Land sakes.
Land sakes. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get down to business.
If you're here to make trouble, young man, believe me, I can handle trouble. My kind of stock know about trouble.
Well, suppose you tell me about the trouble I just had, or haven't you heard all the shots that were fired around here tonight?
Shots?
My.
Seems I would have heard gunshots.
Seems you would. Look, I've got a sheriff on the way.
Have you, Mr. Spade? Why?
I suppose you didn't hear the shooting.
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten. Was anyone hurt?
A man named Linden. He's dead.
Linden. Now, that sounds familiar.
It should. He stayed here 5 nights ago. He was a jewelry salesman.
Yes, now I remember. You say he's dead?
Somebody tried to bury him alive in your little cave.
How awful. I do declare.
I thought you would. Well?
You must be joshing, Mr. Spade.
I'm not joshing at all, Mrs. Elkins.
Well. Buried alive, you say?
Look, let's talk just like plain folks. Where's your husband? Where's the jewelry samples you probably stole from Linden? Is there anything else you want to say?
Gunshots, eh? Well.
I left the sweet old thing knitting and rocking and made my way through the house looking for guns, jewelry, and killers. I got downstairs in time to see Mrs. Elkins disappear out the front door. When I tried to follow, I stumbled over the rocking chair, which is indeed a lucky thing for me. After a few minutes of silence, bravely crawling on my stomach, I followed the shadows of the house until they blended into the shadows of a large, hulking building, which happened to be the barn. Inside, I bumped my head on the radiator of the car. Naturally, I didn't find any keys in it, but I did find a familiar jewelry salesman-type mud-soaked corpse. When I was trying to remember how to cross ignition wires, I heard the hum of a motor and saw 2 headlight beams swinging up the driveway. They lasted as long as any other lights. The car came to a lurching stop, and a thick-set figure in a Stetson hat stumbled towards me, tugging at a gun.
That burned gall-blame cuff thing,
Undo the flap.
Oh, thanks. Huh? Put your hands up, whoever you are.
You be the sheriff?
You're dead blame right on the sheriff. You're dead blame right on the sheriff. Who are you? What's the idea of shooting the lights out in my car?
My car.
Oh, you Slade?
Spade.
Well, I'm Homer Pickett, sheriff of this county. The
Homer?
girl come, woke me up, said all sorts of funny things going on around here. Said there'd been a murder. Now, who's killed? What's going on, Stan?
Sam. Well, for one thing, somebody's been trying all sorts of ammunition on me for size.
You don't say.
I do say, Mr. Sheriff.
Why?
Because I found a man in a cave who'd been left there to die.
Want to look at the corpse?
You can look at him right here. He's sitting in this car.
So, yeah. How'd he get here?
Somebody moved him here.
Shouldn't have moved a corpse till the police examine it.
I didn't move it.
Huh?
Now, listen closely. Listening?
Huh?
I found the man. He was still alive. Then somebody shot him.
Shouldn't have moved him.
Then they tried to kill me because I found him. When they didn't kill me, they decided to hide his body.
Illegal.
They probably intended to drive away and dispose of it so there'd be no evidence when an efficient, smart, alert, courageous police officer like yourself came around to ask questions.
That sounds reasonable. Who's behind all this?
Well, Mrs. Elkins threatened me once and tried to kill me once.
More! Well, land say.
Well, that's her, yes.
I want to talk to her. Where's she?
Roaming the countryside with a gun, no doubt.
Well, let's clear all this up. See what it's all about. Now, who's this fellow in the car?
His name's James Linden.
Got a pencil? Better write that down. Tilden, huh?
Linden.
Well.
By any strange coincidence, Sheriff, you happen to know a man named Dundee, San Francisco homicide?
Lieutenant Dundee, old Tom.
Old Tom, yes.
Shucks, I learned everything I know about police work from him.
Yeah, well, that figures.
And law's law. Dundee always said.
Yeah, I've heard him say it, Sheriff. But...
And I aim to enforce it around here. One side, Mr. Slade.
Spade. Hey, you'll be sorry. Well.
Now, look here, all you Elkins. This is Homer Pickett talking, and I ain't no small-town constable. I'm the sheriff of this county. You'll get a square deal from me, but first I order you in the name of the law to throw down your guns. Well? My.
You all right?
Nothing but my feelings hurt.
I warned you.
I thought that'd do some good.
Well, now you know. Hey, look, maybe it did do some good.
I'm giving up, Dad. I'm giving up. It's me, Mrs. Elkins.
She came across the farmyard as the first light was showing in the eastern sky. Her hands were above her head. One held a shotgun.
Get back where you belong, Maud.
We could hear, but we couldn't see him. Maud stopped, hesitated for a moment, and then began running towards us. She almost made it. Drag her back, expecting any second to be the target for the night. There was a sudden and curious silence as I pulled her into the barn. She was still alive.
Hey, that man's been missing everybody all night. Never thought he'd be able to hit me.
Easy.
I come from good stock. I'm no criminal, Mr. Spade. Sheriff, you know that.
Yeah, I know, Maud. I know.
Let me take a look at you. You'll be okay.
Don't blame Bert too much. He wanted to have money once in his life. So when this man came along with all the jewelry, Bert went out of his mind. He put the man in the cave. And the dog, too. So the dog wouldn't call attention to him. And then he took the man's car, went into San Francisco to try to sell the jewels in the underworld.
No luck, eh?
Bert said they laughed at him. The jewels were just paste, samples.
And he came back and found me at the cave, and he figured he had to knock us both off.
I just stuck by him all the way. Now he's like a tiger that smelled blood. No telling what he'll do.
We'll have to get help, Spade. Roadblocks, bloodhound.
No, this is his land. He won't run. He'll hide here.
Where?
Why, in the cave.
Well, I reasoned, one, that no matter how much a man loved his land, he was not going to let himself be trapped in a cave with only one exit. And two, it followed, therefore, that if he did hide in the cave, there was more than one way out, which the late Linden hadn't found. Sheriff Pickett volunteered to watch the front of the cave while I looked around for a rear exit. After a 20-minute search, which netted me nothing, I remembered the car parked inside the barn and how quickly Elkins had carried Linden's body to it. I went back there and took a look around. In a corner of the barn, I found a trail of dirt leading to a bale of hay. When I moved the bale, I found, you guessed it, a trap door.
I pulled it open, caught a familiar whiff of used-up air, and lowered myself into a black hole that turned out to be a passageway. I cautiously made my way forward in the darkness for a few yards.
Who is it? Who is it?
I pressed back against the dirt wall, listening to him approach. When I figured he was close enough, I threw a cloud of dirt toward him across the passageway. His gun flashed and lit up the whole place for a second, and I fired 3 times at the silhouette. I waited, then I went towards him. He was lying on his back. I kicked his gun away, and when I bent over him to feel his pulse, he suddenly came to life. Something crashed against the side of my head, and everything became darker than the inside of the cave. The next thing I knew, I was looking at a pair of red-rimmed eyes. Several minutes had gone by.
Thought you was a goner for sure. You ain't used to this country fighting, are you?
Is this country liquor, Sheriff?
Yeah.
Give me.
Here.
Yeah, country liquor. Tell me, Sheriff, did you by any
Why,
chance...
sure. Of course I did. I got him, Slade.
Period and a report.
Sam,
Hmm?
do you mean to tell me you let a little country sheriff outdo you?
Well, Effie, Homer Pickett's coming up for re-election next fall, and besides, you might think I was egotistical if I told you how it really ended.
But your reputation. You're the greatest private detective of them all.
And so I can afford to be generous. Now, not another word. Scoot, type that up.
If your supply of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic is getting low, better make a note to get some more tonight or first thing tomorrow. Remember, Wild Root Cream Oil is the famous hair tonic that grooms your hair neatly and naturally, relieves dryness, removes loose dandruff. Always keep a big bottle or tube on hand. And ask your barber for a professional application of Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too.
Here it is, Sam.
Let me see. Let me see here. F, you rewrote the ending.
I had to, Sam. You're much too modest.
And Sam Spade, with a knot of cold fury in the pit of his stomach, a vindictive fire in his eyes, stepped wearily over the loose rocks on the cave floor to do battle with the thing that loomed up in the darkness ahead.
Mm-hmm.
The thing's roar filled the night with terror. But Sam Spade, dauntless and knowing not fear, stepped up to the monster, laughed in its hairy face, and with one quick convulsion of his powerful shoulder muscles, dropped the thing in its tracks. I see. Well, is that the way you think it ended, Effie?
Oh, Sam, I guess I was being a little foolish. I'll change it.
No. No, as long as you've done it this way, we'll leave it this way. Can't waste paper.
No, I'll change it, Sam.
Leave it!
Oh! Sam,
Yep.
I copied that ending out of an old Black Mask magazine.
You what?
Don't be mad.
Come here. Come here. I copied that out of an old whiz-bang.
Oh, Sam. Night.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade is played by Howard Duff. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Tonight's adventure with Sam Spade was written for radio by John Michael Hayes and E. Jack Newman. Musical direction by Lud Gluskin, with score composed by Pierre and Renee Garrigan. Join us again next Sunday when producer William Spear presents another adventure with Sam Spade. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil. Again and again, the choice of men and women and children, too. This is Dick Joy speaking. Here's an exciting new shampoo that's grand for all the family. And here's our own Squeaky to tell you about it.
Look at your hair, is it stringy and dull? Does it only cover your skull? The Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo, it's just the thing for girls like you. Gleams your hair, know what I mean, and leaves your hair squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean?
Squeaky clean. Wild Root Liquid Cream Shampoo.
tuned for the Summer Symphony with Katherine Grayson on NBC.
In response to requests representing millions of listening friends, the National Broadcasting Company is pleased indeed to bring you again The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Hello?
Me, sweet. What number have I got?
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Oh, well, me, sweetheart.
Nothing's happened. Call me later, Dwight.
The white check. Look.
I didn't know you were in town. You didn't write to me.
Effie, F.
Yes?
This is me in the flesh, Sammy the Spade. Oh, now what?
Goodbye.
Effie, I'm in a payphone. My nickel is running out.
Oh, Dwight, how can you be so cruel and play jokes at a time like this?
Wait, listen. Hello, you listening?
Yes.
I am not dead. Don't believe everything you read in the papers or hear on the radio. You were at my funeral. Is that what you were about to say?
Yes. It was lovely.
Don't believe that either. Stay right where you are, sweetheart, because I'll be there, alive and handsomer than ever, with an account of a caper which proves you can kill some of the people part of the time. My exaggerated report on the death of Sam Spade. NBC welcomes back to the air a character who has captured the public imagination more completely than any other since the birth of Sherlock Holmes. William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade. Ain't it grand to be bloomin' well dead? Candles at my feet, candles at my head.
We're not open for business today. I mean, Mr. Spade's office is closed right now because...
I'll wait.
You look just like Mr. Spade. What's your name?
Spade. S-P-A-D-E. Spade.
Sam never told me he had a twin brother.
He doesn't.
But then you...
I'm me, Sam. Oh, wait, come here. Now do you believe me? Oh, what's the use?
Oh, you're so much like him.
Oh, never mind. Now get your pencil and paper and take it. Date November 17th, 1950. To Miss Effie Perrine.
That's me.
From Samuel Spade. That's me. License number 137596.
You must have been the last one to see him alive. Did he tell you to give me a message?
Shut up. Subject, my death. Dear Effie, since the sight of me in the flesh, breathing, hungering, and living doesn't convince you, maybe this report will. Think, if you can, back to last Monday. Now, if you recall, it was about 11 o'clock when, on the flimsy pretense that we needed stamps for the office, you drew $2 from petty cash and stepped out to buy a pair of step-ins. And that's when my client materialized. He was small and thin and carried with him the unmistakable odor of stale flour. His black alpaca suit, string-bow tie, elevator shoes, and white gloves had no bearing on his conversation.
Oh, dear. My name is Chester Swan.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, my name is Spade. What can I do for
How
you?
tall are you, Mr. Spade?
6 feet in my feet.
Weight?
178.
I always notice a man's bone structure, don't you?
Oh, always.
Open.
Huh?
Open. Let me see inside.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Fine.
Oh, well, now that you know me this well, Mr. Swan, what can I do for you?
Oh, dear. Perhaps I shouldn't have come here at all. I'm sorry, Mr. Spade.
Well, really?
Oh, dear.
Oh, hello again, Mr. Swan. You wanted to talk to me?
Yes, but I can't talk now. Mr. Spade.
Still here.
There. I live at 8516 Claremont in Berkeley. I'll be there tonight. Oh, dear.
This time, as he made his exit, he left $50 on the edge of my desk. And so, stupid me, I was at 8516 Claremont at the close of the day. It was a small white cottage with green shutters and a white picket fence. There was a hill in back and a brook in front. The sun was beginning to set on it, and it was all very picturesque. In fact, so much so that a girl with red hair, blue jeans, purple smock, oils, and canvas was making it immortal. She liked me immediately.
Here, hold this.
Certainly.
License?
Oh, yeah.
This is my first landscape. I'm a sprouting artist.
Obvious. Mix your own?
Not when I can get somebody to do it for me. Who are you?
Oh, I might be a fellow artist.
Don't do that. You're a liar. You're Sam Spade. I saw your picture in a newspaper clipping when I was helping Chester clean out his desk before he moved it.
But I...
You don't know an easel from a palette.
Oh, but I could learn.
I take it seriously.
Well, then so do I.
I doubt it. You've never tried to get away, to stand off, to throw off the shackles, have you?
No. I'll have to admit that the urgency of living, the pressure of merely existing, has had to...
Catfish, Sam. By the way, I'm Amy Goodrich.
Catfish?
The world is full of unhappy people who never try to get away from it all.
Well, honest...
Stop it?
Well, I wanted to, really.
Honestly, Sam, get away from everything. Leave, dissolve.
I've dreamed of it.
Never return.
Cross my heart.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing here?
To see Mr. Swan.
He isn't home yet. His house is a wonderful subject. Look, Sam, colorful, moderate, pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
That is until the sun stops shining. But picture it at night in the fog, crushed with barrenness, full of death, brooding. I'm trying to capture that, too. It's what we've got to get away from, isn't it?
Absolutely. You and I...
Sam, as you start up the hill on Claremont, there's a green apartment house on the right. I'm in 420.
Well, maybe we'll find a way out together.
Maybe.
I waved her a fond farewell and sat on the steps of my client's house until he showed up at 6:15. He took me inside where the only furniture was an army cot and a portable barbecue.
I'm so glad you kept our appointment, Mrs. Spade. I'm so frightened. I've been upset all week long. I didn't know what to do. I just didn't.
And what have you been so upset about, Mr. Swan?
Well, lately, Mr. Spade, infrequently, for the last week, I've noticed a man. I think he's following me.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I'd see him in a car following my bus when I went downtown. Then he'd be waiting around at the bus stop in the evening when I came back. I've sold my house, and I'm ready to move. It's unnerved me so much, but...
Did he follow you home tonight?
No, but
Well, would anyone be following you, Mr. Swan?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Spade. I don't know. I really don't.
All right, I'll try another tack. What does this man look like?
He always wears dark clothes and a hat. I'd say he was about your height.
6 feet.
I remember. Maybe heavier. Same bone structure, though.
Yeah. You haven't been to the police?
Oh, dear, no. A man in my business can't afford off-color publicity.
No? What kind of business is that?
The Bonton Mortuary.
Oh.
25 years. Same location. Oh, and I've worked hard. So very hard. And if there's something behind all this, something that'll stop me from being made the executive secretary of the Undertakers Breakfast Club when they hold their annual election next month, I don't know what I'll do, Mr. Spade. I just don't really know what I'll do. I just don't.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Swan. You'll feel better. Just let it all out. Just really do. And he did. When he stopped crying, I instructed him to go about his daily habits as always and left, assuring him I'd get to the bottom of it all. I walked down to the corner ostentatiously, which is a neat trick well calculated to throw nefarious observers off the track and lull them into false security. And when the bus showed up 10 minutes later, I got on it, rode 3 blocks, walked back, and took a plant across the street. A clever ruse, as you see, to invite a showdown. 2 hours later, a man about my size in dark clothes appeared over the hill and crept stealthily to the front of my client's cottage. He had his eyes glued to the window when I walked up behind him.
Hey, let go of me.
Come on, you're going inside.
Listen, I'm no peeping Tom.
No, you're the bloodhound type. I'm inviting you in for a real sniff at
Oh,
your
no,
dog.
you don't. Well, all right, then. I'll go quietly.
No, okay, that's better. Now, just walk on. The kick he landed on me wasn't according to Queensberry. I couldn't move for 3 or 4 minutes, and by that time he disappeared. When I recovered my faculties, I reported the incident to my client, who cried himself to sleep. After I bolted him in for the night, I stopped on my way down the hill at apartment 420 in the little green apartment house. She was still wearing the blue jeans and the purple smock, and she still had the same idea.
Come in, Sam. You said you were serious about getting away from it all, and a whole day has passed.
It was that pressure of living. I'm here to apologize.
You are not the girl.
I'm sorry, Angel.
I love to be fooled, Sam. You're forgiven.
How's the painting coming? The one of Swan's cottage.
Slow. Fog is always tough.
Looks nice, though. How long have you been on it?
3 weeks, all told.
Well, then you've had a pretty good plan on the house, haven't you? Ever notice a tall, broad-shouldered guy in a dark suit casing the place?
Tall, broad-shouldered.
Pretty much like me.
Could anybody be pretty much like you, Sam?
No, you're right.
Sam, is there something wrong?
No.
Well, then don't stand there doing nothing. Do
you, Santa?
Who, me? Amy fixed me a small dinner which had a strong turpentine taste to it, and then we mixed oils and painted and made fun. Next afternoon at the Hall of Records, I did a little spade work on Chester Swan. His application and permit to practice undertaking in the city of San Francisco were dated 1938. Details: unmarried, 52 years of age, graduated from mortician school in Ohio, listed one living relative, nephew, Theodore J. Swan, Toledo, Ohio. I was gathering the above information when I smelled whiskey over my shoulder, which is always good luck. It was Al Torrington, who was also in the private investigation racket in this city, and he was leaning, peering from my face to the card that I held in my hand.
He got over to you, too, sir?
Who got over to me, Al?
Him? That Finney with the tears. What's his name? My eyes ain't so good.
Swan, Al. Chester Swan. Mortician.
Yeah, that's him, Sam. The same one exactly. Came to my office 2 weeks complaining about somebody following him. And he did nothing about it. Said I was too fat.
Oh, well, you are. Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure. And some other of the boys said he was around there, too. Wanted a private eye, but he wanted a man who looked just right.
How right?
Obviously as right as you are, Sam, because it looks like he picked you. Yeah.
Yes, it did look like he picked me. And I thought that over, and I didn't like it. And I called my client at home to tell him he was fired, but he didn't give me a chance.
Oh, dear, I'm so glad you called, Mr. Spade. I really am.
I called for a reason, Mr. Swan. I'm resigning this case.
Oh, dear, Mr. Spade, you can't do that. You really can't.
I don't think you've been quite honest with me, Mr. Spade.
Oh, dear.
Tears will get you nowhere. I made a routine check on your reasons for hiring me, and they don't quite fit with the reasons you gave. They really just don't quite, Mr. Swan.
It's no game, Mr. Spade. Believe me. He's back tonight. Right now, he's standing beneath the lamppost outside my window, and I'm frightened to death. But please hurry over, Mr. Spade, and let's get this business straightened out. Please, please.
And stupid me, I went over. And I found that little white cottage on the hill looking grim and gaunt in the heavy fog. Amy's words about it being crushed with barrenness, full of brooding and death, came back to me. And Mr. Swan's frightened words about a mysterious man in dark clothes waiting beneath the streetlight also came back to me, particularly when I noted there was no streetlight near the house. However, there was a light somewhere in the rear of the house, and the front door was ajar. Mr. Swan! Mr. Swan, are you here? Oh, Mr. Swan, it's me, Sam Spade. Are you here?
Mr. Spade? Is that you? Are you out there?
Where are you? Things happened fast. I turned around to find the front door filled with a man in a dark suit. He had something in his hand, and it looked like a roll of cotton candy, but it felt different. It only started me against the wall, but it made me forget where my arms were.
Easy, Spade. Easy does it, boy. Easy.
He let me down to the floor gently. I could still see the lights somewhere in the back of the house, and I could hear him talking to me way off.
Give me the needle. I can't watch. I'm going upstairs.
The needle went somewhere in my left arm, but not before somebody pulled my coat off, and for no reason I could think of at the moment, also tried to pull my finger off, so I couldn't dwell on it. By that time, the stuff in my arm was going other places, and I was going with it, even though there was action all around me.
That's all it does. No, stay away from me. Get out of here.
Vaguely, somewhere, somebody was shooting Roman candles or having blowouts or playing bebop. I just didn't care at all. I just didn't. The first thing I saw was sunlight. It was the kind you see in a picture. It was a picture of a little white cottage with green shutters. You guessed it. I was in Amy's apartment where we made fudge together. I got to my feet somehow. I knew the best thing to do with me. There was a fire escape in a window. I got out there and I weaved against the wall.
He's gone. He's gone.
What do you mean he's gone? He couldn't have gotten away with that load he was carrying.
I don't know. He was unconscious when I left.
Well, don't just fall. We've got to do something. There might be trouble. Now, let's get going.
I didn't wait to find out what they were going to do. I made my way down the fire escape and started walking for the street, and And that's when I noticed my shoes didn't fit me anymore. They weren't mine. Neither was the gray flannel suit with the label marked Kid Cheese. Neither was the blue shirt. While I was at it, the ring on my finger engraved Emerson High 1936 wasn't mine either. My new belt buckle had a big letter T on it, which is not my initial. It really isn't. And I didn't have any use for the eyeglasses in my coat pocket either. You were out when I walked in the office, F, but you'd been there. There was a black crepe done up in a white satin ribbon hanging on the door. The desk blotter was drenched with salt tears. And a newspaper folded back to page 13, and I'll sue the Chronicle on this if it's the last thing I do, gave me a 2-inch spread. Item, November 15th, 1950. 15? What happened to the 13th and the 14th? Detective perishes in Berkeley fire. I read it through once. And twice. It was my obituary. You are listening to the first in a new series of adventures involving radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Later tonight on most NBC stations, Duffy's Tavern comes your way with another merry half-hour session, starring Ed Gardner as Archie the manager. There's a full serving of laughs garnished with chuckles and whipped up by Archie and his unpredictable friends, Miss Buffy, Clifton Finnegan, and Eddie the waiter. It's just one of the many great Friday evening entertainment features on NBC. It's Duffy's Tavern, your cue for better listening where the 3 chimes always mean good times. Make it a Friday evening habit to tune early and stay late at your favorite NBC station. And now back to Caper Over My Dead Body, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade. I left the crepe on the door and went out to buy a new desk blotter and some more newspapers. The Hobo News had the best story, which wasn't much. Samuel Spade, licensed private investigator, perished Wednesday night in a fire in a vacant house in Berkeley. His warm friends will feel regret at the passing of a man who was always kind to the poor. None of us ever asked Sam Spade for a handout without receiving a kind word and bon mot as he turned us down. This is nice, but I wanted more. Figured I was fairly safe to wander about unrecognized. My ill-fitting attire required from my unknown benefactor would be disguise enough when combined with my 2-day beard. Engine Company 16, Berkeley Division, had handled the fire, and half a block away was a grog shop called the Shamrock. I waited for a fireman to come in.
Bartender! What kind of a place are you running now? I've been here 5 minutes already.
All right, shut up, Patty. You just arrived.
Well, it seems like 5 minutes. A wee bit more there, if you don't mind.
That's enough for you, Patty. You're still on duty.
I am not. I'm off now. The chief said I could be off. Is it every day I receive such a shock to my system?
You received your shock 3 days ago.
And I'm still shaken, man. Oh, the sight of him was terrible. Burnt as black as the good saint's beard. All twisted and horrible in death.
He was probably dead drunk and didn't know what happened to him.
And were you there fighting the flames and finding him like me? Oh, it was terrible. Terrible.
It wasn't that bad, and you've had your limit.
And who says so?
I say so.
Oh, you do you? And who are you?
Your brother-in-law.
Well, now.
Well, maybe I can spot you one time.
I never drink with strangers. What's your name?
Old Doolan.
Well, you heard the man. Go ahead, pour. Cheers.
Yeah. Hey, fireman, you had a terrible experience 3 days ago.
That I did, Mr. O'Doolan. That I did indeed.
I've heard it a dozen times. I'll be at the other end of the
3 nights ago, Mr. O'Doolan, and we get a call to the house on Claremont is a fire. Well, see, when we get there, it's about all gone. Can't understand why it has been flamed so fast.
Wood.
It was the funeral pyre of a man who lived in sin.
Huh?
A detective fellow. Sam Spade, he was identified as. Oui.
Oh, one moment, fireman. I've heard fine things about him.
Some of those uppity police fellows from the Division of Homicide says he was a nice fellow. He But some of the boys at the fire station and myself, well, we got our own ideas about that.
What kind of ideas, Fatty, me boy?
What kind of good can any man be accomplishing in an empty house late at night, I ask you, Mr. O'Doolan? Oh, he was done to a turn, he was, when I burst in the door with me axe. Says in the trouble.
Charge.
Empty whiskey bottles scattered all about. Sin, O'Doolan, sin. He'd gone to sleep with a smoke and cigarette that set the whole place off. Vice rampant.
From there, I went downtown to the telegraph office where I sent a wire to Toledo on a long chance. While I was waiting for an answer on a not-so-long chance, I slunk into the Bon Pond funeral parlor to pay my respects to the departed. I stood in the back of that dimly lit chapel and scanned the scene. 3 of the boys from homicide were there, blowing their noses. 2 chorus girls I thought had long since forgotten me were there in black, deep V-neck. My insurance man was there, looking awful worried. 1 Chronicle reporter with photographer, a shoe-shine boy from our building, and the bailiff from the courthouse, just to mention a few I could make out. And you were there, Effie, up front near a closed casket. I made out a bowl of flowers from robbery detail. It said, "Goodbye, Sam." Maxie from the city morgue was the only one who looked at ease.
All right. Does anyone wish to, you, miss?
Many called him Sam, but I called him Sam. Oh, miss, his last papers.
I was touched, Effie, and I would have stopped the whole thing then and there, but I had to find out who was in that casket. I reeled out the front door with tears in my eyes and slid around to the back door and into Chester Swan's private office. And there I made a phone call and got an answer to my telegram, which caused me to make another call to his bank. By that time, most of it was right in place. I searched through his desk, revealed nothing, and a safe standing in the corner the same. But then my answer walked right in the door.
Oh, Sam, darling, I was so worried when I found you'd left there. I saw you at the funeral, and I thought you'd be here.
And the guy was with you? Was he worried, too?
And that was Dr. Jesper. Sam, you'd been out for 2 days, and I didn't... Oh, Sam, you sweet. You got away from it all. You've escaped, darling.
Yeah, they're burying me right now. I'm dead.
It's so wonderful, Sam.
Only one thing. Where do you fit? The caper. I was supposed to burn up in that fire, and what was left was supposed to look enough like Theodore J. Swan, class of 1936, Toledo, Ohio, to let beneficiary Chester Swan collect a nice pile of insurance money.
Sam, what are you talking about? Who is Theodore J.? What did you say?
Chester's only living relative. They're burying him right now. Somebody lost his caper. You want to tell me?
Darling, I was at the house the night of the fire, working on my foggy picture. You didn't see me when you went in, and later on you didn't come out. And I went over...
I was on the floor, and a man was bending over me.
He changed clothes with you, Santa, and I screamed, and he pulled out a gun, and I hit him with a hoe. And I drug you out around.
And then what happened?
I put you in my car and took you home. I was going to phone the police, but I decided it was something you were working on, and I went back to the house, and it...
And it was burning, and you knew the man you'd hit on the head was in there.
Believe me, Sam, I didn't know the house was going to burn down. I wouldn't kill anybody, Sam. I only wanted to...
You only wanted to help me, and you did right, Angel.
Oh, Sam.
That's all right. I'm your witness. You didn't start the fire.
Somebody really started it?
Chester. He thought it was me lying on the floor in there. The bank tells me he's about to go busted. He figured this one out with his nephew to scare up some insurance, though. I know about the same size.
Sam. Hold me. It's been horrible. This is the kind of thing I was trying to paint. Now I'm smack dab up against it, and I'm sick. I'm stricken.
Easy.
Sam, you're really dead. Squeeze our way out, Sam. Just leave now. Let it go the way it is. They all think you're dead.
Oh, dear.
Huh?
But we know different, don't we, Mr. Spade?
He was holding a Navy Colt revolver in front of him with both hands. I couldn't make up my mind to rush him and count on his bad aim or stand still and be a perfect target while I tried to talk him out of it. Either way, he was a crazy man with a gun. He was getting ready to use it.
Sam, he's going to kill us.
Quiet, Aim.
Because my nephew was stupid enough to wear your watch and your suit when he exchanged clothes with you, I'm going to lose the Bon Ton.
And that puts you in quite a spot, doesn't it, Mr. Swan?
Until a moment ago, yes, but now Mr. Spade, the newspapers all say you're dead. The death certificate says the same thing. All of your friends are following your casket and my nephew's corpse to the cemetery at this very moment. Everybody expects you to be dead, Mr. Spade.
Thanks to you, Mr. Swan.
But now, nobody'd miss you if I killed you.
I'd miss you, Sam.
But I'd have to kill you, too.
Oh.
Did you notice you're still wearing Theodore's clothes, even his ring? Why, Mr. Spade, I could kill you and put you in a fire somewhere and collect my insurance on Theodore now, couldn't I?
No. Why, that's a terrible thing to think.
Huh?
Oh, you're not reasoning properly, Chester. You really aren't. How would you explain Amy? You just said you'd have to kill her. And what about the coroner's office? You're not there.
But if I...
And don't forget the medical examiner's got something to say, too. Not to mention the fact that you'd have to really burn me up to cover up the bullet hole. And furthermore, Chester, when you shoot me, if you happen to hit a rib and chip off some bone, they'd know I was shot before, and then homicide would be in on it.
Oh, no, stop. Nothing works for me. I'm a failure.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Swan. Let it all out. You'll feel better. And he did. And he's still crying in his cell downtown. Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, you were so brave. You actually stood there and talked that crazy man out of murdering you. You were wonderful.
True, Effie? Amy thinks so, too. She's going to do me in oils when they let her out of the pokey.
Amy's in jail? What's that?
Oh, technical charge of an involuntary manslaughter. Spring her as soon as the coroner's inquest is completed. Dear Amy.
Did she make good fight, Sam?
Fudge? Oh, that was the least of it.
Oh? What do you mean?
After the fight.
What the...
Panucci. Oh, boy. So go type that up, sweetheart, while I see if there's any mention of my miraculous resuscitation on the radio page. Go. There certainly is a mention of Sam Spade on the radio page for Friday. Sam Spade is one more in the list of great shows to join up in NBC's Parade of the Stars. Have you heard The Big Show? This Sunday, The Big Show comes your way once again on NBC. Listen to just a few of the star names who will be appearing this week. Bob Hope, Jimmy Durante, Perry Como, Jose Ferrer, Mindy Carson, Eddie Cantor, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, and many, many more. And, of course, your MC once again will be the lady who invented the snappy retort, Tallulah Bankhead. Yes, it's The Big Show. It's big in music, big in drama, and big in comedy. Be sure to hear The Big Show Sunday. Good. I will sign it, and you will keep it, always, to remind you that I'm still here.
Oh, Sam.
Living, breathing, brave, and handsome. A paragon.
Sam, what will you do about the mail?
The mail? What mail? Where?
Oh, the letters and postcards and telegrams and all that came in when people thought you... Oh, way over here. They thought you...
Oh, there's been enough tears tonight.
Oh, Sam, it's so good to have you back. Will you be the same as you always were?
Well, I'm going to try.
Because then you can't help but be, like they say, the greatest private detective of them all.
We'll see.
Good night.
Good night, sweetheart. The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by E. Jack Newman. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Frank Worth. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Hear the magnificent Montague, then visit Duffy's Tavern on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Detective agency.
Here's I, sweetheart.
Sam! Oh, we're going to death. This office. Glass all over the floor. Holes in the wall.
That was just business going on as usual during altercations, F.
Well, what was it all about, Sam?
They tried, Effie, just tried to pluck my feathers and cook my goose.
On Thanksgiving, too. How could they?
Oh, they were a mean lot.
Are you all right?
Hale and hearty, every giblet in place and not a feather ruffled. Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was heavenly. Mama had a turkey dinner, sage dressing, cranberry sauce, candy jam.
Hard cider?
A little.
Come clean, Effie?
Well, I had 2 glasses. Everyone was there. Cousin Gertie, Dwight, Mrs. Floss. I was disappointed when you didn't show up, Sam. Did you have Thanksgiving dinner?
Sure.
Where?
At the Helping Hand Rescue Mission, where there's plenty of free parking and never a cover charge. For further details, consult the report, which I will presently be bound to dictate on a tasty chronicle of foul play. The Terrified Turkey Caper.
For NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Sam, hey!
Oh, you were waiting for me.
Having Thanksgiving dinner at a rescue mission, and Mama cooked it perfectly wonderful.
Thank your mother for me, Aunt. Tell her I'll be over to break wishbones with her tonight. And to atone for my social indifferences, here's a little something I brought for you.
Oh, Sam! You shouldn't have. It's beautiful. What is it?
A blunderbuss.
A blunder what?
Bus, as in step to the rear of.
Oh. Well, what does it do?
Shoot, Seth. It's a gun. Our founding fathers used it in foraging for feathered food when they settled this abundant continent.
And it's mine.
To do with what you will.
Where did you get it?
Pencil boy?
Yes, Sam. Who gave it to you?
Pad open?
Oh, yes, but I don't know.
Knees crossed?
Did you mean the founding fathers?
Don't peek. Date, November 24th, 1950. To Detective Lieutenant I.C. Kelsey, Homicide Detail, San Francisco Police. From Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, Turkey. Dear Kelsey, this was a big week for the cranberry pickers, the butchers, the sage makers, and the stomach pill people. But for private detectives, it was strictly from hunger. My office door opened only twice a day, once to let me in and once to let me out. And when on Wednesday I heard a knock on the door, I went into a paroxysm of delight. Come in! Come in! Come in! Entrez-vous! Entrez-vous! Arise! When I ran out of languages, I got up from behind the desk, walked to the door, and opened it. Standing there was a small, middle-aged man with a pink, bald head. His blue serge suit needed pressing, and he was nervously fingering a strawberry birthmark under his left ear.
Mr. Samuel Spade?
I am.
May I have a moment?
You may have several, but not in the corridor. It's not in my lease.
Oh, I'll come in.
Good. Well?
You'll have to excuse me, Mr. Spade. I've had so few dealings with private detectives. I find it hard to begin.
Well.
Perhaps I shouldn't have come at all. Goodbye.
No, wait a minute. Maybe I can help you.
Well, you see, Oh, what's the use? You won't believe me. Nobody does. I'd really better...
Oh, now, wait. I'll believe you. All I ask is a chance. Now, let's start with your name.
Oh, what, my name?
Yes.
Yes, my name. To begin with, you won't believe that. Oh, but I can verify it. Yes, I can. It's on the registration book of the old Colony Hotel, in the 1943 phone book, and on my old driver's license.
Well, I'll have to know it before I can verify it.
Oh, yes, of course you will. It's Tom.
Well, now that's not so hard to believe.
Oh, you haven't heard the rest of it. It's Tom Turkey. You see, I told you wouldn't believe it. I'd better go.
No, let me be the first to believe you. Now, Mr. Tom, what's your problem?
Oh, dear, that's even harder to explain.
Well, now that I don't believe. But take a breath and jump into it.
Yes. My name's Tom Turkey, and they're going to kill me for Thanksgiving.
Well, I had asked for it, and I had gotten it. And I sat back wondering who had gone to all the trouble to play this funny joke on me. I was looking at my hand to see if there was any itching powder on it where he'd shaken it when my phone rang. I lifted the receiver, swung around in my swivel, and gazed out onto the street. It was Al Cuccio calling, a private eye whose reputation was shadier than a mushroom cellar.
Hiya, Spade.
Al.
Haven't seen much of you lately, Spade. You have to get together.
Yeah, well, so long.
Wait, I'll tell you why I called.
I've had a pest in my office, keeps coming back. Thinks he's a turkey somebody wants to dress. I brushed him, but your name came up, and I just wanted to warn you. He might be in to see you.
I'm confused, Al. I never knew you to turn your back on a buck.
Oh, I don't want any of this one. His buttons are loose. My advice to you is to bounce him.
Well, we've never traded advice before, Cuccio. Why now?
Well, after all, we're in the same racket. If we can't help each other...
Oh, sure, Al, sure. I appreciate it.
Give me a ring. We've got to get together sometime.
Yeah, when I get a free night, we'll Jimmy parking meter.
Yeah, we... Huh? Oh, yeah. Parking meters. I'll see you later, Spade.
I turned back to the desk, and what I saw in front of me was an empty chair. Tom Turkey had taken wing. I got up and walked to the window, and a minute later, I saw him come out of the building downstairs and start to cross the street. And then I saw something else. A large 4-ton truck was tearing down the street, picking up speed. Instinctively, I shouted a warning, and at the last second, Tom Turkey scrambled from in front of the truck and disappeared into the alleyway. The truck roared up the street, and on its side was printed in gold letters, "Haynes, you drive it." There was nothing to say it wasn't coincidence, this near mishap, but somehow I found myself intrigued and wanting to hear more of the little guy's story. He said the Old Colony Hotel. On the way, I stopped at the library, found an old 1943 phone book, and looked. He was listed. Thomas Turkey, it said. Out of curiosity, I rang the number.
Hello?
I wonder if you can help me. I'm inquiring about a Mr. Turkey.
Turkey. This ain't his number no more.
I know.
Haven't had any calls for him for years. Screwy name.
Yeah, I know.
I knew a woman named Rabbit once. Mrs. Rabbit.
About Turkey, could you remember what he looked like?
I don't. Hey, Manny, what Turkey look like?
Huh?
Yeah. Small man, around 50. Nice fellow, Manny says.
Strawberry under his left ear?
Strawberry under his left ear, Manny? Yeah, strawberry under his left ear.
Well, thank you, madam, for your information, and thanks to Manny.
Well, you're welcome, but I don't know what you're going to do with it. Old man Turkey's dead. Been dead for years.
Curiouser and curiouser, I thought. They had described the man who came to my office 20 minutes ago, and now he'd been dead for years. I continued on to the Old Colony Hotel. Room, 75 cents, it said. Tom's room is 114.
Who is it?
Sam Spade.
Oh, come in, Mr. Spade. I'm sorry I ran away. I didn't think you really believed me.
Well, I'm not sure I do yet. Tell me, was that truck an accident?
Oh, I don't think so, no. They made 3 attempts before to kill me. Somebody tried to push me in front of a train, and then a wheelchair full of cement dropped off a building and just missed me, and then I was shot at.
Well, who are they, and why would they want to kill you?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Look, let's tack.
Tack?
I dialed your old phone number, and the people who answered said you're dead.
Oh, a lot of people think I'm dead.
Yeah. Look, do you still want me to work for you?
Oh, yes, please.
Well, you'll have to tell me more, then. I can't...
I guess I'd better tell you everything. Oh, it's hard to talk about, Mr. Spade. It's not easy to admit to someone you've been a foolish man. You see, I just turned 50. I was quite tired of the life I'd led. Proper, dull, and unfruitful, except in money. My business was wearing, and so was my wife, Henrietta.
This has a traditional ring.
Anyway, to make it short, I decided to run away. One day I drove to work. I parked my car in the middle of the Bay Bridge where the suicide note left it and disappeared.
Where did you go?
Oh, all over the world. I took a job on a boat. I did. On a boat. And then I settled in Sao Paulo, Brazil, under another name.
Now you're back. Why?
Well, maybe I got lonely. Maybe I got wiser. Maybe I felt I paid enough for my mistakes. Let's just say I'm back. I want to be with Henrietta.
Have you seen her?
I checked into this hotel and wrote her a letter saying I wasn't dead. I was back in San Francisco, and I wanted to come back to her if she still would have me. But I told her I wouldn't bother her unless she wanted to see me, that she could contact me here. That was a week ago.
And you haven't heard from her?
No, and almost right away these attempts on my life began.
I see. All right, what's her address?
3118 Monroe. Oh, she's taken her maiden name again. Black. Henrietta Black.
Well, come on, let's go.
No, I'm not going to see her until she asks me.
Well, look, you're going to my apartment. Nobody will bother you there.
And you're going to see Henrietta?
That's right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Spade. You do believe me. I think I'm really ready to face the world again now.
I deposited Tom in my apartment with instructions to open the door for no one but me, and then I proceeded to 3118 Monroe in a high-rent district. I was ushered through a comely portico by a Japanese maid who told me to wait in a study heavy with mahogany. In a moment, two people came in. The woman wore a black dress, silver pendant, flat shoes, and a complexion the color of apple meat. She was Miss Henrietta Black and/or Mrs. Tom Turkey. The man turned out to be Leander Luce, the lady's attorney, business manager, and canasta partner.
You say you have something important to discuss with me, Mr. Spade?
I do?
I hope you don't mind my asking Mr. Luce to be here.
Not at all.
Well,
Mrs. Turkey, I just talked to your husband, Tom.
Mr. Spade, if you please.
I say something?
a rather feeble attempt at comedy, Mr. Spade.
Well, I wasn't trying for a laugh. You are Mrs. Turkey, aren't you?
I was.
You undoubtedly still are.
I've expected to hear another one of these cruel jokes about my name.
At Thanksgiving time, Mr. Spade, someone was always going to stuff Tom, baste him, dress him, slice him.
This season, they're going to kill him.
They are not going to kill him. He is already dead.
He's not dead, Mrs. Turkey, and you should know it.
I should.
Yes, he sent you a letter saying he was back in San Francisco and wanted to see you.
Mr. Spade, this has gone absolutely far enough.
Not quite. What about the letter?
I know of no such letter.
I see. Well, thank you for your time. I'm sorry I bothered you.
Oh, you used bad judgment in coming in the first place.
Yes, maybe you're right. There was falsehood in this someplace, Lieutenant, and it stuck out like a fat girl in slack. The only thing to do was to go back to my apartment, get Tom Turkey, and confront Mrs. T with her husband in the flesh. But when I got back to my apartment building, I spotted in rapid succession, 1, an ambulance, 2, a police car, and upstairs, outside my half-open apartment door, I spotted 3, you.
I've been expecting it.
What's going on, Chelsea?
Yeah, serious, Sam, serious.
Who's that bald-headed man moving around the apartment?
That's McCracken, the new medical examiner, checking a stiff on your rug.
I stepped around you, Lieutenant, and pushed the door all the way open. I saw McCracken kneeling over the body and a couple of men from homicide taking photos. I moved into the room feeling nothing good. A little guy had given me a job, and while I was yakking with his wife, somebody got to him. And in my apartment, where I'd stashed him. McCracken stood up, and I looked down at the body. Then I looked again. Who I saw wasn't Tom Turkey at all. It was the late Private Eye, Al Kuchel. You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. You Friday fans of Sam Spade, there's mystery on Saturday evening, too, on NBC. Tomorrow, the man called X sets out on another mission of danger and intrigue in some far-off corner of the earth. Herbert Marshall stars as the man called X, a man without a name who travels the world over protecting his country's interests. He lives by his wits, and his business is danger. He's the man called X, tomorrow over most NBC stations. For Top Sunday listening, it's another broadcast of The Big Show on NBC. This Sunday, your stars include Fred Allen, Jack Carson, Mindy Carson, Ed Archie Gardner, Ed Wynn, and many, many more. And Tallulah is your MC as usual. This Sunday, it's The Big Show on NBC. And now back to the terrified turkey caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade. While the men from homicide were taking pictures, etc., you and I, Lieutenant, were going round and round on the question, if I didn't kill the man found in my room, who did? And you were sufficiently impressed with my insult, Chelsea, not to hold me for the murder. We bowed to each other, and I left. Thinking back to the truck that had almost run Turkey down, I went to the Haynes U Drive truck rental garage.
What do you want?
I'm a detective. Could you give me a list of names for everybody who rented a truck from you during the past few days?
Sure.
He handed me a big registration book, and I read every name for the past week. For the first 5 days, they all seemed to be nice, normal, abnormal names. And then, under the rentals for the day before, was the name of John Smith. John had given his address as 7200 Kearney. And I happen to know that Kearney only goes up to 2000. The dispatcher said that Smith had returned the truck about 3 hours before, and he remembered him as an ugly, heavy-set, and rough-voiced character who looked like an ex-longshoreman. They had already washed the truck, so the fingerprints were all out up.
Mr. Spade again.
Look, I'd like to speak with Miss Black, if you don't mind.
Come in. Come in.
Thank you.
This way. Into the den.
Right.
Well, I was sure you'd look into this affair a little more and realize that it was just a blind alley. A hoax of some kind.
Where's Miss Black?
Oh, she's upstairs, lying down. The whole affair has upset her, and she asked not to be disturbed. I think the wisest course of action for you, Mr. Spade, is just to let the matter drop.
You can't let a murder just drop, Mr. Lewis. The police wouldn't hear of it.
Huh? Murder? Who?
An untracked private detective named Al Cuccio.
Well, what does this have to do with Henrietta Black?
Al Cuccio called me earlier today and said that Tom Turkey was a crackpot, a little man with delusions. He tried to top me off taking his case.
He sounds like a perceiving man.
Well, he didn't perceive ending up in my apartment with a bullet in his head.
Well, that's too bad, but I still
I left Tom Turkey in my apartment for safekeeping, and when I returned, he was gone and Cuccio was dead.
Well, that explains itself, obviously. This detective knew that Tom Turkey was a phony, and Turkey killed him.
It can figure that way, and a number of other ways.
Mr. Spade, I have no desire to sit here trading subtleties with you. As yet, no one has demonstrated that the real Tom Turkey actually exists. Alive. Now, until you do have something more concrete and less mythological, Miss Black requests that you do not come around opening up old wounds.
You've made an eloquent point. Just tell me one thing.
If I can.
When did Tom Turkey disappear? I mean, what month, what day?
It was, 1943, November. But I'm not sure of the exact day. I think it was in the third week.
Could it have been on Thanksgiving?
Very possibly, very possibly.
I returned thoughtfully to my office and did a little rapid mental arithmetic and came up with the number 7. From November 23rd, 1943 to November 23rd, 1950 was 7 years to the day. And I pondered this. What did the number 7 mean to the life or death of Tom Turkey? I had just hit upon the answer and was crying Eureka when my office door opened, unlocked, and a visitor came in unannounced. He was ugly, heavy-set, and looked like an ex-longshoreman. I waited to see if the voice checked.
You, Spade?
Who shall I say is calling?
Yeah, Captain John Smith. And here's my calling card.
The first bullet grazed my shoulder and tore the padding out of my coat. The second bullet hit the water cooler and it crashed over, water and all on top of me. Where the third bullet hit, I wasn't sure at the time because darkness came rushing through my head like a freight train. When I opened my eyes again, I expected to see St. Peter checking my ID card. But all I saw were the dust balls under my desk and a fly bathing himself in a pool of water spreading slowly over the floor. There was blood on my hand, but it came from a glass cut. I was in shambles, but alive. Captain John Smith had shoved off, obviously thinking his bullets had done their work.
Homicide, Lieutenant Kelsey.
Sam Kelsey, have you found anything more about Tom Turkey?
Nothing, Sam. Frankly, I'm beginning to wonder if there is such a guy.
Well, clever Kelsey. A few minutes ago, a gorilla by the name, believe it or not, of Captain John Smith just tried to kill me in my office.
Oh, go on, Sam. I find it hard to think.
You find it hard to think, period.
Really, Sam? Did you get him?
No, but my office is a wreck, and there's a hole blasted in my wall big enough to put a basketball in.
Well, what did he use, a bazooka?
I figured dum-dum bullets.
Dum-dum? Well, that's illegal, ain't it?
Kelsey, doesn't it strike you as significant that every attempt on Turkey's life has been vicious, as if someone not only wanted to kill him, but also mutilate him?
Yeah, now that you mention it. Somebody probably wanted to make identification difficult.
Even dead, they didn't want anybody to know who he was. Now, listen carefully, Kelsey. This is real deep. Tom Turkey disappeared on Thanksgiving of 1943. A person has to be missing 7 years before he can be legally dead and his insurance collected. Now, if someone had Turkey insured, they could collect the day after this Thanksgiving, if Turkey didn't show up before.
You mean somebody's trying to kill him for the insurance?
I would say so, Kelsey. I would say so. Now, hurry up and find him. When I put down the phone, I heard a heavy pounding. For a minute, I thought it was in my head, until I turned to face the door, and standing there was a small pilgrim with bandy legs in black stockings, pantaloons, white-collared coat, and stovepipe hat.
Hallelujah!
He wore silver buckles, and what he was pounding on the floor was an 18th century blunderbuss.
Hallelujah!
Have I got the right place?
Oh, offhand, I'd say so. If you're looking for Captain John Smith, he just left. Pocahontas is expected any minute.
Now, don't you go trying to confuse me. I'm too thirsty.
What's on your mind?
Well, I'm looking for a fellow named Dan, I'm so thirsty I forgot.
Sam Spade?
Yeah, that's it. There. Oh, you broke your water bottle, huh?
Yeah.
Good. That stuff's poison anyway. Hallelujah. Hey, say, do you happen to have any hard cider around?
Fresh out.
Oh. I'm kind of thirsty, you know. Any type of corn squeezing?
Here, try this, Dad.
Yeah.
Good, huh?
Oh.
You like that, huh? Oh.
Follow me. But before we go, do you suppose we could have a little something for the road? It's bitter cold.
I gave him a little, but not too much, because I didn't want him to lose his way. He walked me right down Market Street so he could look in the liquor store windows. He said it gave him a comfortable feeling to know there was so much good in the world. And then we turned right a few blocks until we came to the Helping Hand Mission. Across its gray front, a banner promised special holiday food and comfort to the unfortunate. And on the street in front of it, there was a brass band sending out signals to the fraternity that any minute the great feast of Thanksgiving would begin. The band members and other volunteer workers were all dressed as pilgrims at quaint conceit. My pilgrim led me to a dark corner of the clubroom, and sitting there unhappily was none other than Tom Turkey.
Hello, Mr. Spade.
Oh, well, Tom, what happened to my apartment? And why did you run away?
Well, I was afraid. You told me not to answer the door until you came back. Well, somebody knocked on the door and said it was you, so I opened it, and two men came in.
Tell me, was one of them Al Cuccio?
Yes, the detective. The other man was a big, ugly-looking fellow, and when they saw I was alone, they started arguing.
About what?
Well, the detective said that now that he brought the ugly man there, he wanted his money.
Yeah?
The ugly man pulled a gun, and they started to fight. Oh, dear, I slipped out the door, and when I was halfway downstairs, I heard a shot and kept on running.
Well, Al Cuccio is dead.
Oh, my. I thought so. This was the only place I could think of to hide. Oh, when Henrietta finds out I've been mixed up in a murder, she'll never take me back.
Henrietta. Hey, tell me, did your wife ever have any insurance on you?
Oh, before I ran away, she did. A $50,000 policy, but, that would have lapsed by now.
Maybe. Did it have a suicide clause in it?
A suicide?
Yes.
Well, no. No, it didn't. I remember.
Yeah, you'd like to talk to Henrietta, wouldn't you? All right, here's your phone number. Call her up and tell her where you are.
Oh, dear, I don't think I could. I'm too frightened.
You've got to do something to help yourself. If you don't, by midnight, you might be a cold turkey.
Oh.
I'm sorry, it just slipped out.
All right, I'll do it.
Well, he went and made the call. When he returned, he said that a man had answered who said Henrietta would come down and pick Tom up. He didn't want to wait, but I sat on him. The pilgrim brought us a dish of turkey dinner, saying he couldn't stand food himself, and we munched a spell. In a little while, a limousine pulled up in front of the mission with someone in back whom I couldn't see. The chauffeur stepped out and came in inquiring for Tom Turkey. It was Captain John Smith himself. When he saw me, a look of shocked surprise came over his unhandsome face. Hoping to catch him off balance, I drove at him. It was the liveliest thing that has happened at the Helping Hand Mission in years, and we had a good house, too. Money was even changing hands. When I heard the odds starting to go against me, I realized I'd better come up with something.
Here, use this, partner.
And I did. The bandy-legged pilgrim shoved his blunderbuss right in my hand. And I swung. Smith dropped like pheasant on the wing. I looked up. The passenger from the limousine was just coming in.
Yeah, what's the meaning of this?
It means, Leander Luce, that you're not going to carve Tom Turkey up for your Thanksgiving insurance policy.
Hallelujah. Drumstick, anyone?
Period. End of report.
Sam, I don't understand.
Well, it's as plain as the cranberry stain on your dress, huh? Luce, as Henrietta's business manager, had her power of attorney. And secretly, he kept making the payments on Tom Turkey's insurance policy.
Oh, and then he'd collect for Henrietta and keep the money himself.
Effie, sometimes your lightning mind frightens me. Now, go type that up. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC. There's fun and laughs with the chimes later tonight when Ed Gardner stars in Duffy's Tavern. As usual, Duffy won't be there, but Archie the manager will definitely be on hand to serve his blue plate special of grilled English language. This Sunday, the big show comes your way again. Tallulah will be your hostess, and the stars include Fred Allen, Jack Carson, Ed Wynn, Meredith Wilson, and many, many more. It's the big show, Sunday on NBC.
Killed Al Crusoe and tried to kill you. Was his name really Captain John Smith?
No, Whiffy. Could we have a Thanksgiving caper without a Captain John Smith? It wouldn't be right.
It was a coincidence, wasn't it?
Well, if you promise not to tell anyone.
I won't.
His real name was Michael Giuseppe Yablonsky Smith. I called him John for short.
You're so kind.
Are we going over to your mother's for cold turkey snacks?
Well, all right, but I don't think there'll be much left.
Oh?
You see, my cousin Judy couldn't find a little boy. And Mother phoned and said they just found him. He was inside the turkey, eating his way out.
Effie, is there no way to curb that tongue of yours?
There's one way.
Well, come here.
Oh, good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart. The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by Larry Roman and John Michael Hayes. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Hear the magnificent Montague, then visit Duffy's Tavern on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency?
Me, sweetheart.
Sam, would you mind telling me where you are?
Not at all, Effie, not at all. Let's see. I'm at the Ilrig Dana Rab Etile Seagrod.
I don't understand it, Sam, but I think I caught the word grog.
Oh, you're shrewd, Effie. You see, I'm on the inside, and the lettering is printed on the outside. Now, if you'll wait, I'll go outside and read it the right way, and then come inside and...
Never mind, I've already guessed. You're at George's Elite Bar and Grill.
Trapped.
Sam, answer me. You promised me you wouldn't.
I am? Me? I promised? Me?
You did, Sam. You promised faithfully to stay away from bars. You know how hard television is on your eyes. Have you got your glasses?
One in each hand. Fill them up, George.
Oh, Sam, I heard that. What will people think?
They'll never know, Effie. I always drink here under another name.
Oh.
Just a little of the hair of the dog that bit me, Effie. But don't worry about me. Although it's true I have been dogging it and have been hounded from tree to tree, I am frisky as ever and will be in to unleash my canine chronicle, namely the dog-fed caper, or he who lies down with dogs gets up with murder, or, condensed for easy reading,
For NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade. Effie?
Here I am, Sam.
Here I am, Sam. Effie, did you ever write poetry in school?
Well, I was known as Emily Dickinson of Central High.
I thought you had a touch of internal rhyme scheme there.
I doodled a little poem about you today.
Really? Well, redoodle.
There was a detective named Spade with oodles of brains in his head.
Clever.
But when he took up drinking, he forgot about thinking.
Now give me the punchline.
And Effie has stayed quite unpaid.
Well, a little rough, but cute.
Did you get the idea, Sam?
Never could make any sense out of poetry. Ready?
It's getting close to Christmas, Sam. And
Pencil, boy.
I used my last pencil, and I don't really have enough money to buy any.
Please, Effie, I have no head for figures.
All right. I give up.
From Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, the dog bed caper.
Oh, Sam, I hope this is going to be all about dogs. I belong to the tail waggers, you know.
Yeah.
And I've read all the books by Jack London.
Yeah.
I just think
down, Effie. Strangely enough, you will not meet a single dog in this story. Actually, this narrative has little indeed to do with our four-footed friends or their beds. And I'd change the title now, except that it's already gone out for publicity. Dear Dundee, it all started with a phone call to my secretary, Miss Effie Perrine, a doll, requesting my inimitable services at the investment counseling firm of Cameron Incorporated. Clearing everything off my desk, 2 shoes with feet in them, my own, I went over. The firm of Cameron Incorporated was obviously not for the pushcart set. It was plush, ankle-deep rugs, imported drapes, and the receptionist. She had a plushness all of her own. I said hello in my plushiest voice, and she liked it. She said so.
Oh, I like the way you said that. Say it again.
Life is too short to go back even for a moment. The past is a dead thing, the present dying, only the future alive and vibrant. However, hello.
Is there something?
There is. Could I ask a question?
Why not?
I will rephrase the question. What time do you stop working this evening?
Around 6.
Care to have...
Why not?
There's a little bar around the corner, okay?
Why not?
Why not, indeed? Bring your own money? Well, come anyway. Your name?
Celeste.
Mine's Sam Spade. Who's Mr. Briggs? He called me.
Major Briggs? Why, he's our chief accountant.
I just happened to have my door open. Did I hear someone inquiring about me?
This is Mr. Spade, Major Briggs.
How do you do, Major?
It's a pleasure to meet you in person, Mr. Spade. I'm the man who called you, you know.
I'm grateful, sir. Now, what is it I can do for you and Mr. Cameron?
Oh, it's not for me that I called. I haven't a worry in the world, and it's Miss Cameron.
Oh.
Old Cameron's been dead for many years now.
I see.
Whatever she wants, Mr. Spade, do a good job. We are all counting on you. Will you please announce Mr. Spade, Miss Roberts?
Certainly, Major.
If you'd excuse me.
Nice to have met you, Major.
Miss Cameron?
Yes?
Miss Spade's here.
Send him in, please.
Go on, Sam. Have fun.
Think I might?
Why not?
That girl had the most beautiful double entendre in town. Well, to get on, Adela Cameron was a career woman, around 29, although the tailored suit made fine detective work difficult. No makeup, severe hairdo, and in spite of all this, chic. In fact, as we shook hands in a most businesslike manner, I had the feeling that something warm might well spring up between us. Something like a warm mutual dislike, maybe. But something.
Most men simply cannot be told anything in confidence. They gossip.
That's a switch.
I don't appreciate your humor, Mr. Spade.
I accept your apology.
I will tolerate you because of your reputation.
All right.
I'm going to give you a very difficult job to do.
Miss Cameron.
What is it, Major?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Courtney Pierce is on the phone.
Mr. Spade, this is Major Briggs, our chief accountant.
We've already met.
Mr. Spade. Now, Adela, Pierce wants us to unload his short-term governments and buy American cattle. He's dividend crazy. AMCAT's declaring one in January, and he wants it.
Well, let him do it.
Well, I just want to protect your interests. You know what will happen to AMCAT after February. They'll drop 10 points, and he'll blame us. I went through this with your father when you and Greg were...
That's right, Major. Well, tell him we advise against it. But if he persists, ask him for a release in writing.
That's what I thought you'd do. That's the way your father would have handled it. I just want to protect your interests, my dear, that's all.
I know.
I just want to protect your interests.
Well, don't worry about us. You know, we're not children anymore.
All right, my dear.
Where were we?
Oh, you were giving me a difficult job.
Oh, yes. Here is the business address of Mr. I.J. Barco. He's a wealthy manufacturer, a client of ours. I want you to find out everything about him, especially anything unsavory.
Sorry, I don't do divorce or blackmail cases.
Mr. Spade, this is not a divorce investigation.
All right, what is it then?
Why do we want a client shadowed, I believe is the expression?
That's it.
Because we believe he is investing money through us for some racketeers. If that were true, we would, of course, have to drop him. But we don't want to lose his business just on suspicion.
I see.
Find out anything you can about him. I'll give you $50 a day in expenses, 1 week guarantee. Will you consider the job?
I have considered and taken the job. By the time I'd reached the door, she had already forgotten me and was hard at work on some papers. Outside, I planned to dally a few moments in idle chit-chat with Celeste. But before I had the chance, I was accosted by a husky young chap whom I'm afraid was a Princeton man.
What were you talking about in there, Spade?
Oh, you have the advantage, sir. Who are you?
Gregory Cameron. Now, come on. What was Adela telling you?
Well, if you step to one side, you can walk around me and ask her.
Look, don't pull that cagey private detective routine on me. I pack a little weight myself.
Well, pack it somewhere else, son.
I asked you a question. I expect an answer.
There's your answer. Any more questions? He didn't feel much like talking then, and I was so irritated I walked out without saying goodbye to Celeste. When I reached the street, the white-haired old gentleman, Major Briggs, hurried out behind me.
Mr. Spade, please don't think too badly of that boy. I've known him from the cradle. He's in a difficult emotional state.
Yes, sure. As far as I'm concerned, Major, it never happened.
Ah, you're a kind man, Mr. Spade. I could tell that when I first saw you. You're just the sort of man Miss Cameron needs.
Well, I hadn't looked at it that way.
If you require anything, don't hesitate to ask me. I've been with this company 40 years before those 2 children in there were born, and I know how difficult life can be at times. I just want things to go well for them.
I'll do my little part, Major.
Bless you, son. Bless you.
I started to work. The card Adela Cameron had given me revealed that my quarry, Mr. I.J. Barco, was of all things a manufacturer of dog beds. I sat down on a hydrant to think this over and then followed the scent of horse meat on over to his factory on South Dolores. It was built in the shape of a large doghouse, and outside stood a billboard with the message, "A survey of independent dog tracks, kennels, and canine corps proves that dogs choose Barco beds 2-to-1. I had to get a look at Barco himself, and so ruffling up the hair on the back of my neck, I trotted into the building, sniffing and wagging my tail in a very friendly manner. It was very easy to see Mr. Barco after I lied a little about my connection.
What was that name again?
Senor Don Jose Martinez Sada Morales, but you may call me Sam.
And you represent a group of retail outlets in South America.
Oh, I do indeed. We have our eye on your dog beds, Mr. Barco.
Well, now, let's take a look at our catalog here. Now, say you had a Great Dane. You'd want something regal like this Louis XIV. Ever see a more beautiful bed?
Well, not lately, but Mr. Barco...
Down, boy, down. Now, here's a number that's very big this season with English Bulldogs, a Sheraton, natural wood finish. Lovely, huh?
Arriba.
And, of course, if it's an Irish Terrier, here's a purely gag present for his sense of humor.
A Murphy bed.
Get it, Sam? Irish Terrier?
See.
Well, of course, we wouldn't ask a dog to sleep in a Murphy bed.
Mr. Barco, I'm afraid I don't see anything here I like.
What's this? Do I understand you, sir? You are refusing this small speck of comfort to the one unselfish friend that man can have in this selfish world?
Well, I'm not refusing anything. I just don't
The
happen to...
unselfish friend who, if fortune drives you forth an outcast into the world, homeless, will ask no higher privilege than to be at your side to guard against danger.
Mr. Barco...
Faithful unto death, there by your graveside will be found the noble dog,
My
his
graveside?
head between his paws, his eyes sad but watchful, faithful...
We shook paws, and I felt his nose to be sure it was cold. It was, and I left. I rented a car and took up a station outside the Barco factory. About 4 o'clock, he hurried out, jumped into a long, low vehicle shaped like a dachshund, and mushed off. I followed. An hour later, I was phoning my first report to Adela Cameron's secretary, Celeste.
You went to the city hall. What did you do there, Mr. Spade?
License bureau, marriage, not dog.
Really? Where'd he go then?
Grocery store, where he bought 1 bottle of olives, 1 bottle of vermouth, and 1 bottle gin. I wonder what he's going to make. What recipe is that? Well, now he's in an apartment house on Post Street, just across from the drugstore I'm in, and judging from the groceries, intends to stay a while. He has laid in provisions.
Uh-huh. Well, I guess that's all we wanted to know.
What?
Miss Cameron just told me to call you off the case. You'll still get your guarantee, though. Major Briggs will send you a check.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Sam orders his orders.
All right. What about tonight?
I'm afraid not. Some other time.
You mean it's all over? The half-daring, half-shy kisses on the Oakland ferry? The warm, passionate spring nights at Fisherman's Wharf eating abalone? Hello? Well... Puzzled, as who wouldn't be, I walked slowly back to my car. But before I had a chance to get in, I saw I.J. Barco hurry out of his apartment house. But he didn't enter his car. He came right for me.
Spade! Just a minute, Spade.
So sorry, my name is Don Jose Martinez out of Morales yet.
Don't kid me, Spade. I'm not as stupid as I acted today.
Huh.
Look, I know why Adela Cameron is following me, and you don't. And you'll never find out, any more than the other 4 detectives did.
I was the 5th choice? What? I shall speak with my agent about this.
I'm going to tell her in person that this foolishness has to stop. If it doesn't, she'll live to regret it. One more thing. I presume you're going to follow me. Well, I'm turning right on Market and heading out to 1217 Ridgewood Place. You shouldn't have any trouble.
And with that, he spun on one heel and trotted to his car. He took off, but when I went to my car, it wouldn't turn over. And when I lifted the hood, I found out why. All my spark plugs were gone. I picked up a new set at a service station, looked up Adela Cameron's address in the phone book. It was 1217 Ridgewood Place. And a good half hour later, I got there. Barco's car was out in front. No one answered the door, but it was open. Adela Cameron was a crumpled heap on the living room sofa.
Oh, Sam. Sam, help me, please.
All right, Miss Cameron. Let me look at you. You hurt?
No, I'm all right. It's him.
Where?
The bar.
I hurried into the bar and was met with a strong odor of scotch. A bottle of it had been broken, and holding the neck of the bottle in one hand was I.J. Barco. He was on the floor, his hand slowly opened. The glass rolled out, and he died. You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Act 2 of tonight's Sam Spade in just a moment. Meanwhile, here's news of other goings-on on NBC. There's no doubt about it, it's the big show. Not just any big show, but the big show. Brought to you every Sunday night over most of these NBC stations. An hour and a half of the very best in comedy, music, and drama. Your stars this Sunday on the big show include Fred Allen, Margaret Truman, Douglas Fairbanks, Danny Thomas, Mindy Carson, and many more. All presided over by the glamorous Tallulah. No wonder it's the big show. Saturday night on NBC means mystery with the man called X. A man without a name who travels the world over on missions of intrigue and peril. Herbert Marshall stars as the man called X tomorrow and every Saturday evening on NBC. And now back to the Dog Bed Caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade. It took 3 bullets in the chest to finish off I.J. Barco. He'd apparently been standing there pouring a drink. Barco broke the bottle as he fell. I couldn't find any other signs of violence or any gun, so I went back to Adela Cameron. She was beginning to calm down.
I don't know who did it. I just don't know.
Well, it couldn't have happened more than a minute ago, and you were in the house, weren't you?
No, after I left my office, I stopped in the store for some things. Then came home. When I was driving down Ridgewood, I heard some sound.
And you thought they were a car backfiring?
How did you know?
I've heard this script before.
Don't you dare accuse me of killing that man.
It's not what I think that counts, but what the police accuse you of.
Sam, I heard those sounds. I came in the house when I went into the bar.
You didn't notice Barco's car out in front?
Oh, I suppose I did. I don't know. I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
Who are you calling?
Homicide.
Sam, wait a minute. Listen, please.
Wait for what?
I want to tell you some things.
All right. Go on. I kind of get the feeling I was hired to put the finger on the dog's best friend.
That's not the way it was. The last thing in the world I wanted was for him to be killed. Oh, murdered, I mean.
All right, what did you want?
I'll tell you the truth. Why I really had you watching Barco.
I'd be curious.
We handled his investment account. My brother Gregory...
We ran into each other.
I heard. Well, Greg took $150,000 of Barco's money and invested it, without my knowledge, in a television company.
I hear that medium's making money.
But it turned out this company was just a front for some men who wanted to build a gambling syndicate up north.
You mean your brother didn't know that?
He knew, but there was supposed to be big money in it. He was going to give Barco a good profit and take the rest for himself.
And Barco found out and threatened suit or something.
He never would have known, but the deal fell through and the gambler said the money was gone. Then he asked about the investment. What could Gregory and I tell him?
What did you?
Unfortunately, the truth. We said we'd make up the money with interest, but he only gave us 90 days. We couldn't get it by then.
So you didn't shoot him, your brother did, eh?
No, Sam, no, he couldn't have. I know Greg. He'd have more sense.
In my brief meeting with him, I didn't think he had any sense. Just one more thing before I call the police.
Sam, don't call them. Help me get him out of here. Somewhere.
No dice.
Sam, don't let my whole life be
Stop it. You set me on Barco to find some blackmailing material, yes?
Yes.
And then why did you suddenly call me off the job tonight?
I didn't.
Your secretary said you did.
I didn't tell her anything of the sort.
Can I have that phone now? So I called you, Dundee. Before you arrived, I looked through Barco's pockets for something to do and came up with a picture of him and a girl taken outside a marriage chapel in Las Vegas. The girl was Celeste, Cameron Incorporated's plushy secretary, several years younger and 2 shades less voluptuous. Her address, 627 Finley, was supplied by a now hysterical Adela Cameron. No one answered Celeste's door, but I heard a shower going inside, so I took the liberty of entering. Persona non grata.
Is there somebody out there?
There is.
Well, who is it?
Come out and see.
Oh.
No false moves now. Keep that towel right where it is. Am I doing here detective work? And I must say I've already found out a great deal.
Well, Sam, I'll admit I did express the interest in you, but if you recall, I told you not tonight.
It's my only night off.
Sam, please leave. I don't want any difficult scenes.
All right, we knock off the cute touches and get down to business. You were married to I.J. Barco, right or wrong?
Wrong.
Wrong, it's right. You were married in Las Vegas at the chapel of the Flamingo Hotel, the Tower.
I was only married one day. My parents had it annulled. I was underage.
Well, you don't have to worry about him anymore. He's dead.
No.
Shot 3 times at close range.
Oh, no.
In Adela Cameron's house.
What?
Not by you, of course. Although, on the other hand, as you would say, why not?
I didn't do it, Sam.
Suppose you spill.
He wanted me to marry him again.
Why?
Well,
I know all about the money the Camerons misused.
he found out Greg and I were in love.
I should have known.
He said he'd forget about the entire $150,000 if I'd marry him for 6 years.
$25,000 a year. That's a good price.
How can you talk like that?
Practice, I guess. So, Gregory had another good reason for killing him.
He didn't, Sam. I know he didn't.
Anything that would stand up in court?
I don't think so.
Suppose we say you called me off Barco's tail so Gregory could get at it.
I didn't. I called you off because I was supposed to meet I.J.'s apartment tonight and give him his answer. I couldn't do it with you there.
Flimsy, but it might hold.
The truth. I was going to see him, but I changed my mind.
Any particular reason?
You saw him. Would he be the kind of man I'd marry?
You did once. Well, it looks bad for Greg. Because someone at Cameron Incorporated knew Barco was going to be at Adela's house.
Sam, will you do me a favor?
Maybe.
Give me an hour. Then I'll go wherever you want. I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Why an hour?
Because if I'm going to live with myself, there's something I have to do.
Well?
Please, Sam. If you do, I'll give you some information you might want.
For example?
There was someone at Cameron Incorporated who knew that Barco was going to Adela's house.
She must have known I was going to wait outside and tail her, but she didn't, because without once looking over her shoulder, she emerged from her apartment house, slithered into her car, and led me directly down to the railroad station. She met a man in the waiting room, threw her arms around him, whispered something in his ear, and they hurried out to track 7. There was a transcontinental train getting up steam. She kissed him, and he climbed quickly up into a Pullman named Aurora Fall. And almost as quickly, I climbed in the other end. We met in the middle.
What are you doing here?
I came to take you off the train, Greg, before you made a big mistake and left town.
Now, look here,
Let's not
Spade.
go through the intercollegiate tough talk again. Are you coming off, or am I going to carry you off?
You're going to carry me off?
And I did. Celeste was gone, and he revived when he hit the cool air. I let him out of the station as unobtrusively as possible. Then we went down a side street to where my car was parked. That's where he began to show signs of life.
Spade, look. You're all wrong. Guy's got a right to leave town when he wants to. I'm going to sue you from here to the city hall and back.
Shut up and get in the car.
Celeste just told me about Barco. You don't think I did that, do you?
As I get it, you and Celeste were leaving town together, right?
Yeah, she told me to go on and she'd come later.
That was unwise of both of you. Come on, get in.
Spade, I didn't kill Barco.
Nobody said you did. Now, if you'll kindly get in the car and give me an address I want, and you know, we'll go see who did kill I.J. Barco. He gave me the address I wanted, and said I was crazy. I told him why I wasn't, and he began to see the reason of it. Never have I gone to pick up a murderer with more distaste. When we knocked at the door, I had a gun in my hand, but it wasn't necessary.
Oh, come in, Mr. Spade. I knew you'd be along sooner or later.
I don't like what I have to do, Major.
Major, it can't be true. It just can't be. Come in, Gregory, my boy. Come in. A little Madeira first before we start to talk.
Madeira? How can you talk about wine when a man's accusing you of murder?
Oh, I don't think it's so unreasonable, Greg. After all, I did kill the unfortunate Mr. Barco, and this might be the last Madeira I shall ever have. Mr. Spade.
Thank you, sir.
Greg?
I don't want any wine. Spadey's out of his mind, and so are you.
I'm afraid not, Gregory.
Oh, that was a vintage 1900 Madeira you wasted, Greg. Twice as old as you.
Stop it.
I'm sorry about what happened, Greg. I would have spared you and your sister this unhappiness if I could have. But destiny was against us all.
You knew he was going to Miss Cameron's house, didn't you?
Yes. Just before I left for the bank with the weekly deposit, he called for Miss Cameron, and I took the call. I told him she was gone, and he said he was going to her house. It was to be an ultimatum. The money in 24 hours or exposure.
But you didn't have to...
Kill him? Certainly not. It was a crime of passion. I take the weekly deposit to the bank every Friday, and I always carry a gun. Silly me carrying a gun. Never had to use it, but the bonding company requires I carry it. Well, I went directly from the bank to Miss Cameron's house. I wanted to help her face Barco.
Was she there?
Oh, no, Mr. Spade. She'd apparently stopped downtown to do some shopping. So I faced Barco alone. I asked him point blank to give these young people more time, but he just laughed at me. He said the only time they'd get would be in jail, so...
It happened.
Well, I hadn't intended to, but I became angry. Suddenly found the gun in my hand, and the thought crossed my mind, my life is just about over, and yours, Greg, is just beginning. It was easier to pull the trigger than I would have realized.
Oh, Lord.
More Madeira, Mr. Spade?
Thank you, Major, but no.
Well, allow me to present the bottle to you as a gift. I'll get my hat and coat. Greg, my boy, I'm sorry.
You're sorry. Major, I wish I'd never been born.
Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, I wish I hadn't either.
Hadn't what?
Been born. That poor, poor man.
Yes, our racket.
It is. And poor Gregory. He'll have to go to jail for something, too.
He will, yes, he will. How about typing it up?
Well, I hate to, but I guess it's my duty.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. There's no cover charge at Duffy's Tavern. Just keep your dial on this NBC station this evening as Archie the Manager, played by Ed Gardner, and his remarkable friends serve up another Blue Plate special of grilled English language, fresh laughs, and whimsy a la mode. Another Friday fun favorite is The Delightful Life of Riley, starring William Bendix as the beleaguered Chester A. Riley.
Here it is, Sam.
Now let me see. Murder is all in place. Gunshots indicated. Dundee's grammar edited. My astuteness emphasized. Yeah, you've learned your job well, Effie.
Oh, I'm glad you're pleased, Sam.
Wait a minute. What's this? What? P.S. Dundee, hands off Celeste Roberts. She's mine. Effie, what's the meaning of that?
Well, you are going back to see her, aren't you? After the way she threw herself at you, no?
Do you think she's my type of woman?
Oh, Sam, I think every woman's your type. Every woman but me.
Now, Effie, come here. Would I have you working in this office if you weren't my type?
Guess not.
Well, then let that thought be your comfort. The world can have all the Celeste Roberts it wants as far as... Oh, I can't go through with it.
You see, Sam, you can have her if you want to. But in the end, I know you'll come back to me.
I never doubted it once.
Oh, Sam, you don't know how much you mean to me.
Yes, I do, Effie. 3 weeks back salary.
Oh, you. Good night.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by John Michael Hayes and Dick Powell. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Hear the magnificent Montague, then visit Duffy's Tavern on NBC.
Cerebral Cinema hopes you have enjoyed this movie of the mind.